incredible man. I only do things incredible can. Cause I am the seed of a chosen breed. You don't see too many like me. Cause I am one of the reasons you do what you do. When you wanna be me instead of you. Cause I am still on beat. Showing love to the streets. Come on, you know me. Cause that's who I am.
And good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to live Joxx podcast with Hunter Yancey, Kevin Hastings on KTC Broadcast and live on Spotify, Apple. Well, not live on Spotify and Apple Tunes. Pick us up on the podcast, Spotify and Apple Tunes. We are live on Facebook. Let me pull up our pictures. Hey, everybody, wave at your camera. Wave at your camera. Hey, hey, hey. And you see some familiar faces. You see myself, as usual, Kevin Hastings. Hunter Yancey in the top left. Philip Russ is here, and he's only got one L in his name, if you were wondering out there. And Gene Bowles is here from the Cleveland Community College, baseball coach, getting ready for, it kind of worked out for you. It didn't, but it did with the things that are going on now because you guys didn't have a season. You're getting ready. Do you think that's helping your recruiting / getting ready for next year? Because you guys weren't planning on playing any this year. And one more thing, have you looked at any... Does this open up possibility? Have you heard from any transfers or anything like that as well? Because a lot of kids, this is their senior year and different things that are going on. And so, welcome to the show, Gene. And first, answer those two questions. Then we'll get into some more depth about what's going on.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I guess everybody just wanted to join in and kind of stick with the misery of not playing ball this year and wanted to join us. So, it's been crazy. I feel like it's definitely been opened up with the 4-year schools kind of get that trickle-down effect right now.
Yeah.
And you're getting a lot of 4-year schools where they're bringing back their seniors and it's not counting against their scholarship. So we're getting calls from schools that, honestly, I didn't think we were going to get calls from. Different 4-year, different Division I, Division II schools that they don't have room for their kids right now. So they're trying to find any school to send them to, not just Cleveland Community College. We've been fortunate.
You know about freshmen?
These are going to be guys anywhere that they were in the program already as freshmen or sophomores because they still get that year back. Also, 2020s, like we just talked to a young man, actually out-of-state kid from Miami. He was committed to a Division I school, and a Division I coach called me up. He's like, listen, I have 3 outfielders coming back. I have no room for them next year. Can you help me out? And that's just the relationships I've built along the years. So you're going to see some different players coming along, not just the local kids that we got. So it's a nice mix.
You're coming to fix the water pipe. My pants are filthy dirty. I don't know if you even noticed. Look at my pants, Philip. I'm sure you didn't.
After the last time I was here, we talked about Cam Newton and the Panthers' white pants. I don't look at pants anymore.
No, I don't. Right, Gene, whatever you do, white football pants are not good.
Not good.
No.
Because
not
you
good.
can see through them when you sweat. Now, baseball, you're usually wearing sliding pants or something, not just straight jock straps and sweating straight through them. I'm just telling you, it drives me crazy seeing the Panthers do that. Bunch of new Chargers got new uniforms. We're going to talk about that a little bit. We're going to talk. We got all kinds of fun things to talk about today. We want to get into a lot here with Gene. Gene, our guests, when they first sign on, we like to talk about our favorite teams, where we're from, and I'll give a little background so people will know. So when you do say something about a team, we can say, well, you're biased, or that's who you pull for, or y'all suck, or however we want to put it. Well, we can. So a little bit about where you're from, where you grew up, and also your favorite team.
And be very careful when you go to college. Remember, that's where you're coaching now. So, hey, your favorite college is might be Cleveland Community College.
It's Cleveland Community College. It's my favorite college.
There you go.
Born and raised in Southern Maryland, right down by the water, down the mouth of the Chesapeake Bay. Grew up on a tobacco farm. We had a couple tobacco farms growing up, but favorite teams, everything's DC but baseball. We didn't have the Washington Nationals when I grew up. I'm an Orioles fan.
Okay.
Same thing with the Ravens. The Ravens came in '96, so I was at the first ever preseason game when they played. Randall Cunningham was with the Eagles, and that's actually who they played first game. So I was there sitting up at the top with my uncle, but not a Ravens fan. I'm a Redskins fan through and through. Capitals, Wizards, everything DC, and then baseball. We're gonna stick with the Orioles.
Hunter just got a
Hunter
friend.
here is a Redskins and a Wizards fan as well.
You just made a best friend right there.
I don't know. We don't.
He had a lot of your
We
teams.
actually, we actually don't know how he became any of those, but he likes the Tar Heels in Georgia.
I can tell you
in
exactly.
college.
Washington, my father
And then
was
the
a
Braves.
Washington Redskins fan,
Yeah,
so that's
okay.
easy. That one's easy. And then Wizards, the first, and I have a buddy that this worked with him too, except for football. The first ever NBA game I owned was NBA Live 08, and Gilbert Arenas was on the front with the black and gold alternative, and I thought that was sweet. So I was like,
he's talking about 08. See, I got to be on the basketball court with George Mearson when he was with the Bullets.
I see. Hey, that just shows my
I've
age.
seen now. I've
just shows my age.
I've stood next to Boban Marjanovic, and he's 7, I think 3. How big is 7'8" or 7'7"? No, Mearson, was he 6? I can't remember the exact number. I'll pull it up.
He's a big fella. I wasn't this comfortable body right now that I am. I mean, he was definitely a big fella. Couldn't get back on offense. He just stayed on defense.
7'5". Have you ever seen the pictures of him holding like a Coke can and
Yep.
stuff like that? I'm gonna try to find one and pull up. What's funny about is Muggsy kind of got to play with all those guys, all those tall guys at some point. About it seems like so Mearson was over there with the Bullets, of course, and then they changed the name to the Wizards. Do you have any opinions on that?
That was the biggest thing. I mean, when I was growing up as a little kid, they thought they changed the name. It was going to stop violence in D.C. And, I mean, that's on the back end of the crack academic. And it's like, yeah, that's changing the name is going to make that stop. So it's just, it is what it is.
Right. I thought that was weird. That was one of the reasons. We don't want to be violent. And it's talking about the Bullets team name. Here you go, Gene. There is Mearson's hand holding a Coke can.
There we go.
That's a real Coke can, not a mini, not a prop.
It's kind of like the opposite of what Burger King does when they do the Whoppers and they
Yeah,
film
they put a
people
smallest people with little bitty
Look how big it is.
hands.
Yeah, they just play tricks on you, and then you get it for real, and you're like, what? Wait a minute.
Look,
This is normal.
Tall fella. And what's funny about that, Gene? You see what I got here?
There you
Did
go.
you notice this? Pull it out for the fans at home.
There we go.
This is a Rasheed Wallace Washington Bullets jersey that hangs up here in the. So we got violence in the studio
Violence. We're violent here.
promoting bullets flying. But Rasheed is probably my favorite. Like if you put your favorites down, he's my favorite player of all time. Jordan's my favorite everything, blah blah. But as far as that guy I'm rolling with, he's funny. I put him on every team, whatever I want. Defense, threes. He's crazy. He's a nutbag. I love him. And what's funny about Rasheed is listening to him talk. I love hearing these NBA players and he's not country. He's from Philadelphia, but he talks almost kind of country, like just the at-home type of talk. I like
Kind of how it
listening
sounded
to.
like when you watched the Last Dance and they had Scottie Pippen on there the other night talking, and they were talking about his money, and Scottie got mad. He was like, "I'll just be honest with you. I went back home to Arkansas, and I just decided to go off the way I went off. I was raised. And I was like, God, I was like, all right, then, Scottie.
How did they communicate on the court? Michael and Scottie, with their as deep as their voices are. Like Scottie's got the deepest voice, almost.
And I'm gonna be honest,
Michael's got a deep voice.
His
too.
voice doesn't match his body.
No,
He's skinny as
No,
a
man, absolutely not.
He was Durant skinny back in the day. So Gene is Washington.
What about hockey? Did anybody watch hockey around here?
We don't really.
I watch more when the playoffs come around.
See,
I enjoy playoff hockey.
I didn't jump on the bandwagon. Like I was a Peter Bondra fan growing up. So I mean, that was my guy. I mean, he played right wing for the Caps, but it's tough getting a ticket now. It's
Yep.
ridiculous.
I'll say in the
I
South-
love watching Ovechkin.
Oh, yeah,
I love
absolutely.
to watch Ovechkin. If I do sit down and watch hockey, obviously not someone that is so deep into it. You like to watch the stars. You want to watch some of the guys, Ovi, maybe Sidney Crosby when he plays with the Penguins. Some of those guys that are some of the bigger. Harry Kane up in with the Blackhawks. So,
See, I like Mike Green. I mean, he put hurt on players.
I just, since I'm not that huge of a fan, I enjoy watching hockey. I enjoy going to Checkers games. They're fun. I just naturally I just root for the home team. If the Hurricanes are great, then that's great.
Not gonna lie, I've always been to 2 Checkers games. That was actually awesome to go to.
There you go.
you just there for the cheerleaders, huh? I just-
cheerleaders and
Oh, yes. First time I ever went, I was like, wow, they have cheerleaders at hockey. I think I like hockey now.
There you go.
Well, Coach, I got a question for
Hockey's
you.
looking better.
Leading you to Cleveland Community College, what was your come up? Like your coaching tree, like some of the guys you worked under, some of the schools and programs you worked on before you actually got the helm of Cleveland Community. I think a lot of people in the area would love to hear that and know that you know, this is a guy and this is his background. This is where he came from and the schools he was at.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I probably have one of the backgrounds where I've hit every level but the D2 level. So I got to coach at public school in Maryland for 4 years. Well, before that, 2 years at a private school as an assistant coach, and took over as a head coach at a public school that we were getting kids that never really played baseball. So it was a different mix than down here. And then I jumped off to the college game, went to a Division III school at Marymount University in Virginia. Frank Leone, he's got over 500 wins. He was at William & Mary, and before that he was at Rhode Island where he played at. From there I went to Prince George's Community College, was there for the 16 season, the 17 season. 17 we went from a 16-win team to a 33-win team. Didn't change any philosophy, just got the Jimmies and Joes to buy in, and from there I went out, coached out in Omaha for a summer in 17. Took a recruiting coordinator and a pitching coach job at Bethany College, a little Lutheran school in Lindsborg, Kansas. It is the Swedish capital of Kansas. And I was there for 3 weeks because our head coach decided to take a brand new position in the American Baseball Coaches Association, which is in Greensboro, North Carolina. So he was the head of the high school and youth liaison. But new coach came in. I stayed there. He interviewed everybody. Kind of asked me what I wanted to do. I told him I wanted to be a head coach one day. Within 3 days, I was packing my bags and headed to Hanover, New Hampshire, which is where Dartmouth College is in the Ivy League. And I'll be honest with you, guy that was raised on a tobacco farm, I could not find Dartmouth on the map. Thought it was in Massachusetts, so definitely know where Dartmouth is now. It's definitely cold up there. It was negative 26 a couple days in January, and then had the opportunity to volunteer up there with a good staff. That staff has gone off to our first assistants down in Miami now, our second assistants at IMG Academy, and then I'm down here at Cleveland Community College. After that year in 18, I went back home to Prince George's Community College, was the assistant athletic director, went back to be the assistant coach. We won another regional title, went out to the Cape Cod League last summer, by far the best baseball in summer baseball. Definitely probably a lot of memories that I will never forget. Got to see so much talent right in one spot. Just the stories and just the lifelong connections I had with those young men. 2 weeks up there, I got a call to come down here, and I had already been to Cleveland County, and you know, when they offered me the job, it was a no-brainer. I came down here actually on a recruiting trip, went out of the way to see Rusty when he was at Gardner-Webb, and drove through where Keeter Stadium over Shelby High School, and it kind of fell in love with the area. And when this came up, and obviously I know there was a lot of people that applied for the job, and was fortunate enough to get it. I definitely didn't have to think about it. I do appreciate Dr. Jason Hurst and Dr. Chris Nanny, our athletic director, for taking the opportunity on me.
Well, Gene, the big thing, it seems like everybody likes, it seems like I love it, is this Yeti's mascot. And
that's right.
It seems like, did you have any part of that, or was that before you were signing on? And tell us how they got to be, or if you know how it got to be the Yetis. Of course, being from here, I know the Yeti story up here in Upper Cleveland County. Hunter did, and I put it on the screen.
I've seen that.
Yeah.
We'll never forget it.
Get from here, boy.
Get on out here.
Yeah.
So, I mean, honestly, like I had no part into it. It was down to, and the fans at home can correct me. I believe it was Cougars, Cardinals, and Yetis. They had, I think, Nobby, Bigfoot, Yeti, and then they just decided to make it a Yeti. They did a Facebook poll, and this is before I came on out in March, and last March, and the Yeti won. And when I started doing research on the school, Dr. Jason Hurst was in a little Facebook Live, and he was like, you know, and then he turns the Yeti cup, and then a couple days later they announced the Yeti, which is cool. But I was there when they unveiled it to the logo and everything. So, and they showed off the softball team and our cross country team. So that was great. Nice.
So now that you've got the head coaching position here in Cleveland County, what is one of your philosophies that you're bringing to this? This is their first baseball team, correct?
Correct.
So you basically are coming in, you're building this program from the bottom up. So what is your philosophy going into this?
I think the biggest thing too, I think we harvest the local talent. I mean, this is the county of champions. You know, this is the area champions. You get the the football mentality and the fact that guys show out in the fall. I mean, people come out for American Legion. They love baseball here. You go after the guys that are the low hanging fruit. You get them to stay home. and then you buy in the outside talent and you bring it in. I think that's kind of what, if I had to pick one point where we struggled at this year, coming in kind of late to the party in the 2020 class, we were still fortunate to get some good local talent, but we had to go outside a little bit more than I kind of wanted to, and I think it's going to make us better. I think it's going to actually, guys, and ladies out there, you're going to see guys from different places where maybe they've never traveled for, and you'll be able to actually talk to these young men. So it's definitely going to be interesting for everybody.
Outside of North Carolina, what's some of the states that you brought recruits in or got some guys coming in?
So we got them coming from pretty much all over the place. So we have 11 states right now. I'll roll through them because I know them by heart. It's North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Maryland, South Carolina, Georgia, Florida, Louisiana, Texas, Tennessee, Illinois, and the state of Washington.
Ooh, geez, that's a travel.
So,
that is a travel. West Coast to East Coast.
He was telling me when we were standing outside, we were coming in, he was talking about a couple of kids that he was talking to from Miami, Florida. And I was like, man, leave Miami and come to Shelby, baby. Viva La Shelby.
Viva La Shelby, yeah. Let's turn Shelby into party town. How about that?
Well, it was crazy. We got on Twitter Live yesterday, and one of the parents of one of the Miami players who's thinking about coming up here, she's like, it's beautiful there. And I was like, I know, it's God's country. Everybody should come here and play baseball. So they love it. It's different. Most of those kids haven't seen North Carolina. They haven't. They know that there's mountains here. I'm like, this is not a real mountain, but cool. It's not as big as some of the places I've been to, but they
Whoa. Be easy now for them Boone Mountains.
Hey, it'll make you feel good. He does have one of our local boys in the green and gold.
Who's that?
He's got a Bessemer City kid that he picked up on his recruiting class.
Which one was his name?
But Tyler Lambert from Bessemer City.
I know Lambert.
So he's got those. I know that you were. He was showing me some things. Burns is represented. I think he's got almost every team in Cleveland County represented coming in.
Yep.
So I mean,
I think that's a big thing. Your whole team don't have to be locals, obviously, but a lot of in this area. So I went to Appalachian, for example. App did not recruit Western North Carolina,
Right.
so at all. Like, it didn't matter how good you were, they didn't recruit you.
it's kind of like Gardner Webb in football.
Yeah, so I went to school and played against all kinds of. All the talent around here.
Heck yeah.
Appalachian wouldn't talk to Mason, so he goes to UNC Greensboro and wins Player of the Year.
Tears it up.
Their school, like, you could have been there. And so what they used to do, it was kind of weird. They tried to get some of the locals to walk on, and they would try to get a teammate of yours to walk with you. Like, so if they liked me and Hunter played, they try to get you both to come out and try out, but they wouldn't recruit neither one of you. They really wanted Mason to come up there and try out.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And so what I was kind of getting at that is and Gardner Webb started recruiting some of these people. I don't know how Gardner Webb wouldn't have recruited. Cleveland County, this is the best county in the state. Let's not recruit in-house.
Because you look at the rosters and it's like Michigan, Florida, Texas,
right.
and you're like, how does that happen? But I'll tell you, I think we always talk about the trickle down effect from the pro level down to college, down to high school, and the trickle down was just like Appalachian. It was genius for the Panthers to sign Armani Edwards. Think about the tickets.
They sold jerseys and tickets.
Because in itself, Armani wasn't going to be a big factor, but it was big enough that hey, here's a guy that the entire following of Appalachian State and all of Division I AA football, they're behind this guy. And if we bring him in, just imagine what that's going to do to our area and bring up.
And I think, Gene, what you've said about that philosophy, obviously recruiting local, is perfect because you are just now starting with this baseball program, and that's one of the ways to draw fans out. They're saying, look, man, he played at this high school, and maybe it's one of their kids, and they're like, hey. We were teammates. Unfortunately, I was, obviously of the level that he has. I can go right down the street and watch him play, and it keeps it, it keeps the name around, and the name itself is what's going to draw people there. And obviously, the success will draw people there as well. And Gene, so you take the job, and this is almost like an interview question if you were going to get the job. What do you believe is one of the strengths that you bring, coaching-wise, to the baseball team?
I think the biggest strength is going to be the ability to get different individuals of different backgrounds to come together for a common goal. Obviously, at the junior college level, everybody's here for themselves too because they're looking to go to a 4-year school. But getting guys together and building that common goal right together is probably the biggest strength. I think also the communication factor because I think you get a lack of a better term, old school coaches who they, it's kind of you conform to their ways or you're going to be out of the program, where not every kid can get coached the same way. So it's I hate to say it's a different mentality now, but it's kind of adapt or die. It's not their fault. I mean, the way that guys have grown up and kind of how everything's quick now. Me and Coach Russ was talking about this yesterday. When you do stuff on social media now, don't go forever, because within the next 15 seconds, 30 seconds, it's kind of quick. If you do a skit that maybe is 5 minutes, 6 minutes, you may lose some of your audience. And you're right. So you got to kind of know what you're doing too. But same thing with coaching.
I got you.
Well, I mean, and to go back with recruiting local, I mean, I think it proves a lot of positives for his program, because number one, if you're that guy coming in from Louisiana and you've got local talent on your college baseball team, it's like your local guys know where all the nooks and crannies. They know where the good restaurants are to eat. They know where the cool hangout spots are. They know what girls you need to stay away from. Yeah. I mean, it's things that can help make the program better. I mean, like
last one I think was key. He really wanted to hit that one home.
I mean, not to say that there's not. To me, I feel like there's not a lot to get in trouble in Cleveland County. I mean, but even in that, these guys can give these experiences to these far off guys. But in the same token, too, you think Cleveland Community College is on the forefront of creating their athletics. So housing is a big question. Facilities are a big question. You get local guys. These local dudes can go home and sleep. Right. They can be at mom and daddy's house. They can eat home cooking and worry about their nutrition.
That just makes it a lot easier.
And then it makes it easier for that college coaching staff to be able to say, okay, I'm bringing in 20 guys that are not from here. Right. It's easier to house those 20 than it is to try year one to house 80 kids. So then, do I think that it's always going to be local? I would hope. I mean, after talking with Coach Boyles, he's got a great plan recruiting wise. His staff's outstanding. Coach Height, Coach Dawson, Coach Sherrill, those guys really buy into what's going on big around here. And when you tie in what's going on big, and you keep the locals interested. You're going to, because really people aren't coming from Washington, Florida, and Louisiana to watch games.
That's what I was kind of getting at. I was like, that's what I'm saying. Like, say that's Bobby's best friend's getting ready to be the starting pitcher this, one of the games this week. It's like, hey, mom and dad, you want to go out here and watch, John pitch this
pitching college baseball.
Pitching, that's what I'm saying, college baseball. Baseball. Because baseball's different, than how it is in basketball and football. Every level of baseball is competitive.
But you look in the backyard, if you watch how it happens at Gardner-Webb, unless there's local guys on the team at Gardner-Webb, a lot of fans don't go out to Gardner-Webb Bulldog baseball. Not until they're in, like, the conference tournament or they bring a big-name club in.
Right.
You put a local kid on the team, it's easy to just jump into Blunt Springs. But what is the centerpiece, if you were to go around, what is a centerpiece focal point in this local area, Rutherford County, Lincoln County, and everything? Shelby. And you've got the World Series now. Now you've got JUCO baseball. JUCO baseball offers up opportunities to have guys that can be drafted.
Yeah.
You're not, because that's the one thing that people don't realize. Like, I don't have prototypical JUCO studs because those guys don't want to go play college baseball on the D1 level because you got to spend 3 years.
Yeah.
You can actually play a fall. You can play a fall and a spring. You can play a fall, spring, fall, any time and leave and either go to another level or get drafted. And so, like, what we're going to see is we could see high caliber, top D1 talent come through Shelby because they're on their way to that signing bonus and they're not trying to play a 4-year school.
Right. All right, I know I've stepped out. Who knows what y'all talked about for a second? We got the water fixed.
Hey.
All right, so the air conditioning.
I can go to the bathroom now.
The air conditioning pipes froze.
Yeah.
It was touching the water pipe. So it froze over the water pipe and cracked the water pipe.
Oh, man.
What are the odds?
What are the odds?
Oh, it was raining under there earlier. I'm telling you, it was.
So you were literally making it rain at KTC.
I really was.
Making it rain.
Couple of quick points for the JUCO route. It kind of explained, players, folks, people listening, kind of what Philip was just talking about, and that's what I was going to ask before I left. I wrote Scottie Pippen down here. Pippen was 6'1" and the manager at Central Arkansas. At no point did anyone think he was going to be a top 50 player and one of the all-time greats, 6 champions, Jordan, all that other stuff. He wasn't going to a big school. Rodman didn't go to a big school. A lot of people don't go to a big school. People develop differently, different ages, different strengths. Explain a little bit how. Real quick, for example, Philip will know who I'm talking about. Noah Aker.
Yeah.
Did you see Noah news on
Noah? Just committed to go to Coastal
Carolina. And some people, if you don't know anything about college baseball, like, well, who cares about Coastal? They're a national champion.
They're good.
So Noah Aker from Cherryville was up at Catawba Valley Community College, and now he's moving on to a national championship program in Coastal. So kind of explain how that does happen a lot. With that, we had Ralph Roberts went JUCO, went to Kinston, and went to North Carolina from Cherryville. So that it has happened quite a bit through here.
Well, actually, speaking on Coastal Carolina, we got a national champion that's here in Cleveland County now, Anthony Marks, who was left fielder for that Coastal Carolina team. He's actually the first base coach for Gardner Webb now, so he's on the Chester staff.
Wow.
But the JUCO route, I mean, it opens up a lot of doors. I feel like the development process, you know, me personally being at that D1 level for the year I was up there and then doing JUCO. JUCO is my favorite route. I've been D1, D3, NAI, and JUCO. And the biggest it comes down to practice time. You don't get the practice hours that you do at the D1 level that you do at JUCO. D1 depends on where you're at. You're looking anywhere between 16 at the Ivy League, 20 at the regular Power Fives and everybody else. But those are all your strength and conditioning time, your meal time, anything you're with the guys. They're starting to take time away.
Count everything.
And like for JUCO, I don't want to say it's the Wild West, but it's a little open, and we have the ability to be with them a little bit more, which is nice. I love the fact that it's more they have more ability to come in. It's a more open door policy. It's more they can kind of work on themselves too, academically as well. And I think that's where it definitely sets a lot of different kids up for greatness afterwards.
Okay.
I mean, not only to win like JUCO championships, but really it's that wall that you build, like where the kids go when they leave your program.
And
I mean, that's what you're trying to essentially
That's
build.
probably that's probably one of the coolest things, and probably one of the best ideas I heard with the stadium coming up. And no matter baseball, softball, where they move on, it's going to have name, what school, what year they played at Cleveland Community College. I think that's kind of a nice send off for anybody who's been with the Yetis.
What's the that was my pretty much final question before we move on a little bit. What's the deal with the play? Where you guys are going to play? I think you guys had some meetings and things to talk about. What's the schedule plan for you guys?
All right, so where we're working at right now, so we're looking. So first year, we're actually going to be on the road a lot, just because of we're not sure if we're going to have everything broke ground year one to be able to play there in 2021. So we will possibly look at some other sites around Cleveland County and the outstretch areas. Our president's very optimistic. We will potentially play a couple of our games at home, if not all of them. Right now, the timeline, if everything goes well, we're hoping to have everything done by the end of the fall. It just depends. You got to go through a bid process in North Carolina and all that.
What all, you building the field? What exactly are you doing with that?
So we're building an athletic complex of softball, baseball. Anybody who's listening out there, you'll have opportunities to be a part of the athletic complex. There'll be a part to have your name forever etched in brick around the complex. So you'll have different ways to contribute to the complex.
Where's that going to be at? Is it the same softball?
No, so actually where the softball field is right now, that's going to actually be where the site of the baseball field is.
Okay.
We'll cut into that grass knoll area on the field house where the Lyman Academy was. We used to pull in. That's going to be the site of the softball field.
Up on the hill,
right by the road.
Okay, so softball is going to move up on top of the hill, and you guys are going to remodel the lower section. We've done the past few years the American Legion girls softball.
Yep.
So we've done some games out there. So I'm very familiar with that field. I spent about a week out there this summer. Me and Tom sweating our butts off this summer.
So here's a good plan. You and Hunter need to go in and buy a bunch of lottery tickets, scratch offs, win, and then it can literally be the Kevin Hastings Stadium on Hunter Yancey Field.
So that's what I want to spend my lottery money on.
There it is. Have naming rights. It's wide open.
I was going to say naming rights. If you're out there listening, naming rights are wide open.
Now, is there a set number on that, or are you taking bids on the naming rights? How is that?
That's a good question. So we've set a couple meetings about that. We're kind of looking at different prices that are actually going to help offset some costs. So if anybody is listening out there, we are serious. If you're definitely interested in softball complex,
It'd be nice to go over to KTC Broadcast and Athletic Department.
You got to sell some more ads, Hunter.
Hey, but look, you do that, then you bring in high school baseball, and then we can start streaming it, bring it in, and you can have the rights because it is your stadium.
Well,
Yeah, well, that you make a
We can
hard
stream
bargain.
it. We can stream it wherever we want to.
I'm
Technically, it's
gonna
our
have a little
stadium.
fun right here with Tim Peeler up here. This is you folks watching online. I know
Kevin, please do not get us flagged this early in the show.
you guys can't hear it. Let me make it where you guys can.
We've heard a
can hear that real quick. This guy's funny. His name's Tim Peeler. I think this is mine. Which one is it, Hunter? I just audio input HDMI. There we go.
I need somebody to make me a get after it stick.
There it is.
Yeah. You're calling 911 to your husband.
Yeah, well, maybe Tim Peeler's got someone for her. Someone tall, dark, and awesome.
This thing was 10 foot tall. He had beautiful hair.
This being rural North Carolina, Mr. Peeler had a guy.
That's up near the mountain, South Mountain area is where he's at.
No, don't give it credit. It's Kaiser.
That's Kaiser.
Is that in Phillips and Russ? Is that the Russ neighborhood?
That's off the beaten path in the hometown.
Now I live in Kings Mountain. My kids ask all the time if Bigfoot's around in there, and I'm like, he's going pretty fast. I'm sure he can get from South Mountain to Kings Mountain at some point. Yeah, honey, we'll probably get flagged here in a minute from.
Let me tell you something. It's too early.
Nobody's faster than WWE.
No. We got flagged by
WWE?
Yes, on a fake match.
It was fake.
Do you know what the 24/7 championship is?
Yeah.
Okay, so
But you
Gronk.
can be pinned at any time.
Right.
Yeah.
So we'll move. Let's make that our transition.
Great transition.
So
There you go, Gene. Now you're part of the team. Great transition.
I can't pull it up online because who knows what we get wrong. I think it's because we were using the audio with it too. I think that was
I
the
don't
main
care.
thing.
They should give us money for even showing
just
crap.
talking about
I don't
it.
mind
That's
it. Not them threatening us.
So this wrestler named R-Truth had the 24/7 title, and he's a goofball. He's funny, and so he's running through the crowd, and they had this is the bit. They had like 6 or 7 wrestlers running after him, chasing him. Looked like a cartoon or an old Monty Python bit. And well, Kyle Busch and Michael Waltrip were at the stadium, and they were on the front row. R-Truth stops where they're at and slides in where their seats are. And of course, the NASCAR drivers tell the wrestlers, "Hey, he went that way." R-Truth stands up and thanks him, shakes their hand. Well, Michael Waltrip wouldn't shake his hand, and Waltrip unzips his coat, and he's wearing a referee's shirt. And Truth looks at him like, what's going on? And then all of a sudden, from behind, Kyle Busch rolled him up and got the pin. So Kyle Busch was the champion for a little bit. Now, I don't know how it ended up out of his hands, but Gronk at WrestleMania won the 24/7 championship. So Gronk, technically right now, Hunter, is still the WWE 24/7 champion.
Yeah.
And the WWE sent out a notification yesterday that ESPN made a statement on Gronk. They said congratulations to Rob Gronkowski, the current WWE 24/7 champion, on his return to football. Per the rules of the 24/7 title, Gronk must defend his title championship at all times at any location. He could be celebrating a touchdown pass from Tom Brady. Hashtag anytime, any place.
The cool thing about him though, is that kind of how everybody's connected. So my girlfriend, Alana, she's actually a school teacher back in Maryland, but she grew up in Buffalo. Her neighbor, one of her neighbors was Gronk, which is cool. So everybody kind of gets this well, we went to school in Pennsylvania for 1 year to play football, and I'm like, he's from Buffalo, guys, and so the story, she's like, he's a really smart guy,
Right.
And his salary, he invests all his salary. He lives off of all the commercials that he does, all his advertising. That's what
That's
he
been
lives
one
on.
of the things that was the story that came out while he was in New England. Somebody asked a question to one of the players. They said, "Who do you go to for financial advice?" And he said, "Everybody goes to Gronk."
Gronk.
He said, "People might think he's kind of dumb and just a big party animal, but he's really financially smart." And that was one of the reports too, as well, is that he didn't touch any of his signing bonuses and none of his contract money. He just put that away and was just living off of endorsements. And well, he's got some pretty big endorsements, so I don't blame him. I mean, absolutely.
But not everybody can just do that.
Yeah, not everybody can just do that. But you want to know what is funny though about him having to defend his 24/7 title?
Right.
I wouldn't be surprised if Tom Brady took him down. Brady, since he got out of New England, is a different Brady.
Did you see the video they just did?
Yeah, I love
of the
it.
conch shell. Did you see
Yes,
it?
I love it.
Jesus.
I love it,
But
man.
I'm telling you, none of this would ever happen under Belichick in New England.
that's what I'm saying.
They had to get this out because if the WWE showed up at one of the Patriots practices, as methodical as it is, he would lose. He may die on the field that day.
So here's the question.
It'd be over.
Does Gronk lose the title before the season,
Or in a game.
or if they're smart, they would let this last and promote it. Now, before y'all got here, I told Hunter, I said, if Vince McMahon was smart, what he would do, he'd be like, nobody mess with Gronk. No, just don't mess with him. And whoever they're playing week 1, I don't know who it is, Panthers, let's say them. Whoever they're playing week 1, Vince McMahon should go on the internet and Twitter, $500,000 bounty for the champion. And see whoever tackles Gronk during the game and holds him down. Think about a guy holding Gronk down and then a teammate coming up. Here we go.
That would be.
I just made the best. That would be the most memorable moment in NFL history.
Kevin, we can't talk about this because it's gonna show
They're gonna steal it tonight. It'll be on Twitter tonight.
Hey, it's 2:40 at 7:30. Let's just start the time.
Yeah, write it down.
Write it down right now.
Kevin's idea.
On what? 422.
Right.
Yeah.
You have who they play first week. Pull it up. You got ESPN.
Well, what about this? When does WWE come to Florida and like to Tampa? Because then they could even build it up.
Is it bad that I just typed in
their training facility is in Tampa.
They're there like they can almost build it up to where.
Is it bad that I just typed in the New England Patriots schedule when they play for Tampa Bay?
I did the same thing.
Did you,
Oh man. Remember
it's
when
Tampa Bay.
Yeah, but remember they haven't come out. They've given the teams, but there's to be decided on next to all of them.
Maybe Tony Romo comes out of the box, just pins him like, hey, you want to do an interview with you, Gronk? Great job today. 2 touchdown passes for Tom Brady with your new team. By the way, your shoes untied. Roll him up, pin him.
Man,
that is awesome.
I'll tell you what.
Think about I just hope it happens. Training camp during something where it's on TV and not
that's why I'm saying
give it away from.
I wouldn't surprise me if Tom Brady did a bit to try and get it off Gronk because he's got his buddy there now. They're not on Bill's watch anymore. He can do really whatever he wants.
And that would
now.
just solidify the goatness.
All right,
I think
with
so.
two coaches sitting in here, I'm going to ask you guys a question about this Belichick situation. So there's only a couple ways this can go now. Now that Gronk has left and went to Brady. So Gronk chose Brady over Belichick. Said he would never play with any other quarterback but Brady. Brady wanted out. Belichick didn't want him there. Whether or not Tampa wins and does well, this season is big with Belichick because what would you think or feel? Let's say they don't sign a quarterback or don't get a lead or whatever. When do players start questioning Bill Belichick? When do they stop respecting him into the fact of, why are you yelling at me and treating me this way? Why should I bust my ass for you when Tom Brady did it for 20 years and you wanted him gone? Gronk may be the greatest tight end and you want him gone. So what would make you, what as a player, why would I think Belichick cares anything about me? So what I'm thinking is this year, everybody's saying, Belichick's been good, they're still going to win 10 games, but I mean, could this be a situation where these are professional athletes getting paid millions of dollars? I'm not busting my ass for this dude that's going to cut me next year. Well, I'm not risking an injury on this. But what I'm going to do, I know it's football, you got film, but to me, this is very volatile for Belichick where he could lose a locker room. And then final point, Philip, if that's so, is it a plan? Because think about this. If you keep these players, you go 8-8, you don't have a chance at Trevor Lawrence. If you piss everybody off, everybody quits, and you have a bad season, now you got a shot at Lawrence. If you bring Lawrence in, whole new ball game because all the other Lawrence don't know that you're a jackass or you're a jerk to everybody. Now you've got a new kid coming in, a whole new regime, new players. The turnover's quick. Is this part of his master plan, or are we looking at a possible volatile situation with them saying, "Hey, Brady and Gronk didn't want you. Why should I?"
Well, I think you give him 2 to 3 years. I think what people are yet to realize, and it showed in the secret workouts he was doing, Belichick knows what he's doing. You want to play for a winner. Like if I was a college football player, 5-star, you can offer Dabo, you can offer anybody to me, but if Nick Saban calls, there's a seriousness about that conversation. So like in the NFL, even though Tom leaves and Gronk leaves, Belichick knows, and he's taken subpar, low-level guys and put them around the pieces. So yeah, you move Tom out of New England, but if he's able to figure out a quarterback or put somebody in that position, he's shown that he has a system that is proven that works. I think you give him 2 to 3 years. Don't have any expectation for him this year. I would like to see how they draft. It would tell you a lot of what their plans are upcoming in this draft to let you know kind of where they're seeing themselves in that 2 to 4 year picture. And it we watch. I think the business side of it will keep the locker room, only because if you think about it, like when everybody in America watched The Last Dance and tied into that, and they really, everybody, the big name now is Jerry Krause. They're not really talking about Michael and Scotty. I mean, you get some little facts. It's Jerry Krause, and what he tried to do, he tried to get out the coach and keep the team. And he tried to get rid of all the people and keep Michael. So what did Robert Kraft do? He kept the coach. He got rid of the Michael Jordan. And the support cast is still there. And now Scotty somehow comes out of retirement and goes with Michael Jordan to Tampa Bay. So the big picture of it is Robert Kraft knows what he wants, knows what he's going to do. Anybody, if Belichick gets run out of town or if that doesn't work there, he's either going to retire or he could go somewhere else and be, I would love to have him in my team, my favorite team. Like I would take him in Dallas. I would take him anywhere.
Oh, you're a Cowboys fan?
Yeah, see, that's why I sat across from the table from you. But no, like seriously, like if you think about what it all plays out, it is a business. Tom Brady's got a knee injury that he hides every single year. He's got there's already issues. I think you're going to see a difference in the offensive coordinator because if you think about it, Tom would go to the sideline and they talked about it. He would cuss out his OC. Some of the coaches under Belichick didn't have power. If Tom wanted to bring his personal trainer into Patriots, think about that big argument when only certain guys Tom let his masseuse rub on and only Tom's trainer got to work with these guys. It's going to free up a lot to where some of these guys are going to have a little bit more freedom. They're going to have a little bit more space. Now, granted, they may not win and contend every year. But in the same token, Tampa Bay's got to learn how to adapt to Tom Brady. I mean, it could be a disaster there because they've got to buy in. They got to listen. They can't have egos. They got to understand. They say the big one that walks in the room, everyone knows who the big ones in the room is, and they've got to accept that Tom Brady's that guy. And then Gronk's going to come in with all that personality. Yes, it's going to be a vibe. It's going to be a feeling. But in the same token, there's a lot of other people that have to humble up in Tampa to be okay with it. So I think the Patriots can recover. I think they're going to have too many expectations for Tampa this year. And everybody's going to have very low expectations. I think that Belichick can exceed his expectations, whereas I think Tampa could easily. They're either going to have to shoot the moon or they're going to underachieve, and everybody's going to be questioning it. And then it's going to be funny who the scapegoat is at Tampa. Do they fire the coaching staff? Do they fire some defensive or some offensive players? Because they're not going to get rid of Tom, and they're not going to blame it on him. They're not even going to do it to Gronk. So there's a lot of pressure in Tampa Bay right now, and I would rather be in New England's pressure than in Tampa Bay pressure.
To me, New England is in a weird situation where it's such a household name now. You know how Dallas has been for years. Green Bay is so established. It's like historic names. New England has etched themselves into being a historic team now. So even if Robert Kraft wanted to be the Jerry Krause, except in owner form, and get rid of Bill Belichick, he could.
You talking about how Jerry Jones is?
Listen, I'm just saying I'm telling you, he could get the best. He could get the best head coach available out there to come in a heartbeat just because of the name. Say, look, you come in here to New England Patriots. What are we known for? We're known for success. We're known about winning. We're the team of excellence. Even if he does want to move away from Bill Belichick because maybe there is division in the locker room with players and Bill Belichick. Because, it's one thing. Bill Belichick is great. Let's not get it wrong. But it helps to have talent around you. It really does. Yeah. So you can't expect to win if everybody's divisive. So maybe Robert Kraft looks at it and says, look, Bill, you've won us 6, almost 7 championships. You've been great for us, a model of excellence for 20 years. It's time for us to go in a different direction. And he can still get the best available, whether it's a college coach or the best coordinator in the game. And I think the Patriots would be maybe not as successful, but they wouldn't drop off dramatically. I think this is going to be a big drop-off year, though, for them because I do think that's something that's going to be in play there. Because think about it, Julian Edelman's still there, and he was buddy-buddy with Gronk and Tom. And he just watched both of them go away, and he's still there trying to be that leader. But he knows who Bill Belichick is on the field. And they've all said Bill Belichick off the field is a great person.
Yeah.
So,
would you be worried about losing your locker room on any of this, or is this different because it's Belichick?
They've lost huge. I'll say this: they've lost huge leadership.
I think the first thing they need to do is make Belichick's son get a haircut. That's step one to getting some respectability around there.
Yeah, I got to see Belichick a couple times because he'd come back to Annapolis and. Speak at his high school, Annapolis High School. But again, trying to jump on what Coach Russ said, it's really hard. he wins. I mean, he's a winner.
He wins.
And you know, when you get to a certain point in your career and you are the dude, sometimes it's time to get rid of you and move on. I think, you know, the next 2 years are gonna be big. You know, he's a defensive minded guy. I mean, I think you're gonna see a little change in kind of how they play. They obviously they run the ball, they dig and dunk, but I don't. It doesn't matter. I think who the quarterback is. I think you could throw almost anybody back there, and they're going to find ways to win games. It might not be pretty up in New England, but I think it'd be different if they were in another division. But being the American East, the AFC East, I think they'll be fine.
I think it's going to be a 100% different offense than they've run for the past 20 years with Tom.
Correct.
I think Josh McDaniels' fingerprints are going to be on this more.
You think Belichick wants a quarterback this year, or is he waiting till next year?
I think he's going to wait till next year. I don't think he's going to have his guy.
It just depends.
It's
on
weird that he hadn't made a move, right? He has no quarterback right now.
It depends on who's available.
Correct.
Because you know what?
That's what I'm saying. Cam's available. Jameis is available.
He's still available, and that money,
Andrew Luck is technically available.
I'm saying, like, you could easily sign.
I want to hit on that.
You could easily sign one of these cats for some decent money. Bring a young guy in next year.
Since
and draft some power, because you know what you've got sitting in free agency.
Well, I've heard a lot of people say that he likes
Stidham.
Stidham. He likes Stidham. So even if it's for a year, I mean, then you're not giving anybody big money. You just got a guy still on a rookie contract and Brian Hoyer on backup money. So if you just run for Stidham for a year and see what he got, then that's cool. And if you want Lawrence, that's fine. But what I wanted to hit on is this. So say Gronk obviously is retired for a year and he's come back. His body's rested. I'm guessing he feels good enough to come back. If Gronk is even, I'm not going to go high number. I'm just going to say this: 65 to 70% of what he was in New England. He's still the biggest mismatch on the field because there's not a linebacker.
This is about red zone. He's not going out. He's not after catching 1,000 yards this year.
He's still listen. Even if he's lighter, that means he's probably going to be fast on his feet.
But in that division, I don't know. There's a defense that can stop him.
No, but this is what I'm getting at. I think this will be a precedent that we see happen at least every other year. A star, not quite a superstar, but a star maybe is a little bit banged up. And he says, look, Gronk just took a year off, came back, and let's just, hypothetical, made a Super Bowl run with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm sitting here, and I'm one of the top 5 players in my position. I need a break. I just need an off season to
get
better.
This is like the Michael Jordan return to the Wizards.
Exactly. Think about it. Andrew Luck, if he was to come back and get as healthy as he is right now, he's not rehabbing anymore. He can come back and still throw a football. And Bill Belichick signed him. You don't mean to tell me that would be just as dangerous if Tom Brady was sitting there in that pocket?
Gene, I got a Jordan Wizards jersey. If I'd have known he was a Wizards fan, I'd have brought it up here today just to show it off for the show. I'm looking at Super Bowl odds.
I just think that could be a precedent if all goes well.
I wonder how they changed before pre and post.
Yeah, I don't have the pre for you guys, Redskins fans. Y'all have the worst odds in the NFL.
Imagine that.
You're tied.
Imagine that
with the Jaguars and Bengals for the worst.
Oh, great company.
The next worst, Panther fans. It's you. Panthers is the 28th worst or 29th worst odds in the NFL. So Hunter, for you, will the Buccaneers, Saints, and Falcons average 40 points a game versus the Carolina Panthers next year?
No, they're going to average a lot.
Average 40 is what I'm asking.
They're going to average a lot because
the Panthers last year were 31st in scoring defense.
I have a buddy that's on Facebook.
And all 3 of those offensive have gotten better this year.
And I saw him post. He was like, I want my Panthers to draft Isaiah Simmons, # Luke Kuechly replacement. I said, ain't no way in hell that's a Luke Kuechly replacement. So, look, it doesn't matter what defensive player Carolina drafts. It's going to be tough maybe for the next 2 or 3 years in that division for you to hold these teams with this much firepower under 30. So I don't know if they'll average 40 against the Panthers, but I'll tell you what, I could say they could average 30.
It's going to be close.
They could average 30.
I would definitely bet the 30.
They could average 30.
I would definitely bet the 30.
Absolutely.
Someone's going to put 45 on.
Because I want you to think about it. Brady, now he's got an offense where he can push the ball down the field.
What are you stopping on their offense? The running game? They don't have a running game? Is that what we're looking at right now?
I mean, you can draft a running back. I mean, damn, you can draft a running back. I don't care.
Bucks and Cowboys have the 5th best odds at 12 to 1.
And the Saints,
now.
I mean,
Saints are 4th.
I'll take it.
Saints are 4th, 49ers 3rd, Ravens 2nd, Chiefs number 1.
To me, though, like the only one out of those three teams you listed that could possibly average 40 on the Panthers, I just got to see what if an offensive coordinator can actually come in there to Atlanta and after they lost Kyle Shanahan, it feels like they've never been the same. Offensively,
but they got an MVP.
They do.
I
have
hear
an
that all
MVP.
the time from the Panthers fans.
Trust me, I know they have an MVP, Matt Ryan, and they have either number 1 or number 2 best receiver in the league, and Julio Jones. It's just if you can't call up the plays to get the ball to him, then what the hell's the point?
Do you know who the offensive coordinator is?
I don't know, but
they got Todd Gurley in there
What's
now.
so crazy is they had Steve Sarkisian one year, and he was god awful. I don't even know why they pulled him out of college. I mean, that was a joke. I think they brought him in after Kyle Shanahan took the 49ers job, and I was like, this looks nothing like what got y'all to the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl looks like you're just flopping out here. You don't know what to do with all these weapons.
Gene, tomorrow night, are you going to be like Hunter? And if they don't draft Chase Young, you'll be ready to cut somebody. So you put your knife out on somebody?
So everybody keeps saying that's who they're going to draft. So we'll see. I mean,
listen, if they pull a switch on me, I'm going to be so upset. I might switch teams. I'll pull a switch on them.
Yeah, but my only thing is, does he end up being a bust like Jadeveon Clowney?
I don't think so.
Where'd Clowney go to school? South Carolina?
Went to South Carolina, went into the NFL.
That explains a lot.
He didn't even play a full season for the Texans.
He hasn't played a full season anywhere.
That's what I'm saying. But there's that one. I mean, really, who's the...
Yeah, but Chase Young is not being compared to Jadeveon Clowney. This is what they say about Chase Young. So Joey Bosa and Nick Bosa were both there before him, and they're pretty damn good. And they say Chase Young is better than both of them were in college. So I'm just saying, Nick Bosa was defensive rookie of the year
He just don't
last
need to
year.
take any more loans from his uncles to make sure his girlfriend and them can come to his
he's
ball
not going to
games.
worry about that with that signing bonus. I can promise you that. Number 2 overall pick.
I still think they don't even want to get on that topic of some of the things in NCAA.
As a college coach, Gene, that's a good quick question to ask you. What he's talking about there, we talk about paying players all the time a certain amount, wherever you want to do it. One of my biggest issues is that family members don't get to see a lot of their kids or family members play in college, and that's one thing that I think paying the kids could cover some travel cost, and then that would help getting parents to seeing their kids at some point, as opposed to tell me how you did in college, buddy.
somebody's going to pull this video up on me in about a decade or two ago. He said this.
Oh, okay.
But no,
As long as you don't talk about CTE, you're probably good right now. CTE and coronavirus could probably get you hemmed up, but if you talk about talking about stipends, I think
I think the biggest thing right now, and for us, what we're going to do, especially for the Cleveland County fan, even if you're following like a Michael Green from Crest, and you want to watch our openers in Miami, Florida, February 1st. So obviously not everybody's gonna be able to make the trip, but our goal is to bring cameras with us to stream live. KTC Broadcasting want to go to Miami, Florida. By all means, let's jump on the board. And
If you were
Andre's ready to go to Tampa right now. He's a Bucks fan. He's been up and down all the last 2 days.
if you're going to twist my arm to go down to Miami in February, I mean,
I guess.
maybe.
Yeah.
I guess I can take some time off.
So like for us, I think that's the biggest thing. I mean, I was in a different boat when bringing some of these kids, like you guys said, they're from out of state, and even with us, no matter what, the in-state kids, we have 36.
Right.
We have 36 away games. I mean, we're even going to Louisiana to play the number one team in the country, LSU Eunice. So we're not backing down from who we're playing. So guy calls me up, Walter State, Dave Shelton. Hey, you want to play us? Absolutely, but you're going to come to Shelby too.
Yeah.
So we're going to play them in a home and home. I'll put our schedule up against anybody in North Carolina JUCO. No one can compare our schedule. So Catawba Valley wants to call in anybody. We have absolutely the best schedule.
See, that's one of the things that I remember too, because I had an internship when I was finishing up broadcasting school that I did, and it was in one of the Woodbat Summer League that they do here. It was with the Catawba Valley Stars up there. They play at LR, and a lot of the kids, they're baseball players, obviously college players, but they really don't want to get summer jobs and they want to continue to play baseball. So we got they had kids that were coming from California, Washington, Texas, all over the place. And that was why they brought me in, because they were like, look, we've got kids that are coming in from all over, and it's to play in Hickory, North Carolina. But their parents can't just fly out here from California, from Texas to watch them. So that was what they wanted me to do, was to just come in here and to just be able to videotape it and broadcast it for them. And so that's what I did. So I understand that completely. You would want to be able to have that exposure, because think about it as well. It's not just exposure to the parents. That's exposure to 4-year scouts.
Well, Gene, we've had, real quick before you go, we've had the American Legion tournaments that we've done during the summers and stuff. With rain delays and travel and stuff, a lot of times the scouts, if they come into town, they're only there for a couple of days, one day or something, they get out. We've had a ton of guys that's called us and be like, hey, you guys doing a Legion tournament, how can I watch it? And we've had, I think last year's Cherville tournament we had here in the state, I think it was Appalachian that had called and we had to send a link to them so they could watch it up in Boone.
Because that don't really count against your visits. If you stream online, I think that
it doesn't. And I think that's something too. I love to talk to you guys. After we get off the air about it, because having a good quality video and good sound. I mean, that'd be great. But one of the things about the American Legion, you hate to kind of talk about not having it this year. It's the first time in a long time not having it, but.
It's huge in this part of the country.
Absolutely. I mean, but I really think, I get to spend a summer out in Omaha, and every team, every high school, that's their Legion team. Like, it's absolutely crazy.
Right.
Iowa's the same way, Pennsylvania. But me personally, I know there's going to be people that listen to this thing, they're going like, nope, we're not changing. The rules of American Legion got to change a little bit. And for college coaches, I talked to a buddy of mine from Texas Tech, and he makes sure that he comes up here every year, but he'll watch 1 or 2 games, and then he keeps on getting it. But you're not going to see a lot of 4-year schools, and the people here, I'm going to be the first one to tell you, and the reason why is because it's the age. You're right now, you're allowing guys who are able to come back if they've already been on a team, you're allowing them to play again, which I understand, I get it. Well, let's make another league for those guys who have already been in summer. If they can't play, in the Coastal Plains League, well, why don't we do something else? So, for me personally, when you had these teams in, we had Fargo, a couple other teams, all those guys are already committed. I still talk to the guy, Gonzalez, from the Albuquerque team. Those guys are already, I don't want to say aged out, but some of them are already at college.
Right. So, you're talking about when they moved to 19 years old.
Correct.
you can always come back as a freshman.
And then they added the B League, and so now it did kind of, it's like they wanted to get more players, but it kind of did change it up a little bit.
I would love to see, and people out there, you're not going to get the traditional, what we talked about post A2 and some of the rivalries. If you do it kind of, I would love to see it kind of open up a little bit to where, I don't want to say travel ball-esque, but you're getting more of those players to where you're able to pull a little bit more. Maybe you're able to pull that North Gaston kid in a little bit, because the team that gets screwed is Kings Mountain. Because they kind of get pulled. You have Burns kids that, they're going to go up and play with Bobby Dale just because they kind of live on that threshold. So you got to kind of, I know, put your rating out now. So I know some people down in post A2 are still, feeling it. But I think that, this really could, kind of give the boost to American Legion baseball. That
well, you're talking, one thing you did mention real quick was, your high school team was your Legion team. So that to me blew my mind. When I got to college, a ton of my friends were from Wilmington, and they didn't give a rat's ass about Legion team because their high school team sucked. Yeah. Well, we got 3 good players, and we get beat every game by the other team, and their Legion team too. So we went. He's like, we go to the beach and surf and then come to the ballpark. Like, there was no, we didn't care about the Legion because of that particular thing. And then Philip and me both live in this weird situation here with Cherville, where you pull from West Lincoln, Lincolnton, Burns, Bessemer City.
You fight to be on that team.
So think about that team. So they've got North Gaston, Highland can play, Cherville, Lincoln, West Lincoln, Burns. If you're in the right spot in Shelby District, right spot in Kings Mountain District. So you could be pulling from almost 8 different schools. So if I'm Cherville, I'm getting the best player from 8 different schools, as opposed to like at your school, and you already know what you got. It's basically Cherville turns into an all-star team.
But see, they changed
Kings Mountain is the Kings Mountain team.
And I heard rumors of where it came from. Some coaches made arguments on it. So they've made a rule adjustment. Basically, and this happened when I was still coaching here in Gaston County. When you pull a kid from Burns, you take their ADM number, and each Legion team has a cap of how much they could. So it would be like one of these deals. You might get 2 kids. All right, I can take a West Lincoln that's a 2A. And see, Cherville, if they host it out of the Cherville, it's a 1A. So they got 900 kids at ADM, maybe not even that, 800.
I got you.
So then you pull Burns. Well, see, now Burns has went 2A. So now that Burns has changed, now you got Shelby. So it all goes by your ADM numbers, and they were trying to do it to limit it. And so, like, honestly, if you're Coach Reynolds and you find out Burns is going from 3A to 2A, okay, I'm excited about that because their ADM numbers are lower, which are going to help me there. The reason why I bring it up is because Coach Cobb over at Ashbrook, he was asking me, he was like, I can take 2 kids. How many of your kids are going to legit try to play Legion ball for me? And I told him, and he said, well, I may have to pass on your kids and not, because if I take any of them, I've got to count your
use the
numbers.
ADM number.
He's like, how many kids do you have in your school? I told him, he said, well, if you can't get me these 5 kids to come, I can't take them on.
Now, you're talking about Gastonia Post 23,
Yeah,
right?
he's like, I can't take them on. He said, I'd rather go pull East Gaston. I know I'm getting 6 from there versus your 2 or 3 when I need the 5 from you. And so when they made those adjustments, I think it was to try to water down somebody like a Cherville, because Cherville's perfect. You got a 1A that can pull 1A Bessemer City, 2A West Lincoln, 2A now Burns,
1A Highland Tech.
1A Highland Tech, and now,
Who's a magnet school?
and then the biggest school you can
somewhere
pull
else.
from is Kings Mountain. And if you think about it, every year you think, well, some years they have Kings Mountain kids, some years they don't. Well, they don't have to take those ADM numbers the years they don't take
I know
them.
you probably don't remember, but I do. When I was little, Bessemer City had a Legion team too. So Bessemer, Kings Mountain, every little town had, they had a Legion team as well. I remember Kevin Millwood playing against Cherville. Millwood, I think it was 0-9 was his record against Cherville in high school and Legion. Stevie Sanders, Cherville's pitcher, going against Millwood, was undefeated 9-0, and Millwood never lost. Millwood never won. And Millwood's the one that went on to the pros, of course. But yeah, the Legion stuff is a little bit weird. Here's a question for you. I'm just kind of giving you an idea. I don't know if you've heard of something like this before or not. The University of North Carolina Tar Heels basketball, what they do is, say, if they recruit Vince Carter, okay, he's from Florida. His closest school is Bethune-Cookman. So North Carolina, what they do for the seniors every time they get there, they always make sure in their schedule at some point they play the school closest to where you're from. So when you recruit a guy from Louisiana, you be like, hey, guys, we're going to recruit you guys.
That's actually why we put LSU units on the schedule.
Gotcha.
So we got
you're scheduling
from out there.
So basically, what they do is make sure at some point the kids that play for you play at home, so the parents can see. That was kind of what I was thinking about that travel thing. That's exactly what I thought about. I just remember Carolina playing Bethune-Cookman. Like, why are they playing them? And it was because Vince Carter was right down the street from there.
And for us, obviously, we're not going out to the state of Washington or up to Illinois. I mean, for the kids that come here from Texas, I mean, we'll go out to Louisiana, and the goal every year is to make it out to Eaton, Oklahoma for the World Series. So, make it to the World Series, the guys from Texas can have, close to a homecoming as possible. But, that's kind of the method of the madness when it was, to take trips. I mean, and it's recruiting too. Every trip you go to, I learned this from my last head coach. You make a 50-mile radius or even go a little further, and you contact all those kids and all those high school and travel coaches and get them come out to your game.
Right.
They're not coming up to, North Carolina, come watch us, especially during the season. So we're down there on a Saturday or Sunday playing, a series. Come on down and watch us.
Have you guys got any of the Yeti merchandise for sale yet or anything right now?
So if you guys are listening
That's
out
a
there,
big question. A Yeti T-shirt has to be a hot commodity.
So Angie Gold in our school store at the Cleveland CC. So we have a school store website. So if you just Google Cleveland Community College bookstore, they have a little search engine up there. If you're out of the area listening to it, you just put baseball in the notes section, and she'll make sure she ships it out the next day.
Try to pull it up real quick for the folks online can see that. I was interested about the just putting it on your schedule. Hey, we'll be out there and son, you're gonna play for us. I promise we'll get down there and so you parents can see us play. Another quick question I think some people might have is. Will you be taking the full team on road trips? Is that or is it a skeleton type thing?
Good question. So when we go down to Florida, and we've already talked with our athletic director, and he's like, we need to absolutely because that's an experience thing and all that. So we'll definitely be taking the whole team on the trips. Obviously not. You can't say, oh, we're going to play these guys. I mean, the goal for me, especially the first non-conference games we're going to play, everything's leading up to March 6th. That's when we open up conference play. We got 30 conference games. This year they're splitting up. 2021 they split the Division II up this year. So Region 10 actually goes east-west. So it used to be you play everybody in a series, a Saturday, Sunday, 9-7, and a 9 on a Sunday. Well, now 2021 it goes. We're going to play everybody 6 times in our division. So there's 6 of us. So and it's snakes. So if you played somebody home, now you're away. So. that Catawba Valley Cleveland Community College game, you know, it's a home and away, and it's on the back end of the Snakes. So like that's going to be a playoff contention game every year. It's either going to be to get in, or somebody's getting knocked out, or it's going to be a seed game those last 3 games. So it's definitely going to cause a lot of rivalries. But for our division, it's Catawba Valley. We got Guilford Tech, Wake Tech, Southwest Virginia, and then Patrick Henry. So we definitely have a good division. So like the Brunswicks and the Pitt and all of them, they're going to be on the east.
I know
too.
a lot of the boys up there at Catawba
Which
Valley.
one did? Where was the state at? Just like 2 or 3 years ago, was it Pitt?
Yeah.
Are they the ones
It was
that won
Pitt.
national championship? We went to a junior college down that way, and they'd won a couple national championships.
Yeah, Pitt Community College is not bad. Then you've got down there, you've got Brunswick. You got Wake Tech.
I just remember that.
But you were at Pitt because it was where you. That's where they hosted the American Legion World Series there when the
the
Greenville
state tournament.
Yeah.
Me and Milton and Danny was down there.
That was when that didn't. Shelby was there.
That was when
And-
Shelby and Cherville went to the state and didn't win a game.
Yep.
Both teams made the state tournament and
That's a
didn't win
good, that's a
game.
good looking T-shirt right there.
Yes, it is. That's the only one they won.
That's a really good one.
Yeah, we got that's the one right now. That one when we open back up another baseball store, when we get to the fall, we'll have that up on our site and everything. So that's going to like the stuff like this, like T-shirts like this. We'll put a team store out, but those are limited.
I want that green in a shirt with just a giant Yeti on the front.
Just a giant Yeti.
And on the back, you should just say Cleveland Community College hashtag whatever it is. But yeah, all you need is the giant Yeti head on a lime
Put
green
hashtag
shirt.
Yeti Nation on the back.
Everywhere you go,
So
that
here's
lime
the
green
thing.
shirt will
You were
pop.
asking me about potential uniform ideas. Well, I'm going to be honest with you. Somebody that has, if you want branded, off the wall, just eye catching things that's going to get you talked about in the nation, Hunter and Kevin are who you need to talk to. Right now, just to give you, and you can bounce some ideas off of me. Right now, I don't know that the community college has a uniform concept. And they are looking at, and honestly, Coach Bulls, in many conversations I've had with him, is extremely open to any idea right now. Pretty much with the schedule he's got prepared. I mean, think about it. With the schedule he's got. I mean, we were down to.
You said that so. Pink.
I mean, like the other day
It's
we
a
were
color.
talking, he was thinking like all neon green with the blue pinstripes, like
The green will be a great like
think it's a great seller.
a third option or third jersey type thing.
Like an alternate.
that would be
Kind of like when we were talking
the
about
one
the
you
other
sell.
day, you know, how the powder blue, for some
Everybody
reason in
keeps bringing
baseball,
the powder
man.
blue to me. So
But listen, that plays now. Powder blue plays with the Yetis now. You can almost say like this is our ice cold uniform.
I would about do the
Hey, man, I got ideas
I would
now.
about do the green on the road.
or you could sell it
Just
powder
because
blue is the
everybody on the road is going to talk about it.
There you go,
Yetis
Carolina
are
blue.
walking
Come
around
on,
in Carolina
well, I
blue.
don't know if Carolina blue is trademarked by that thing
Now,
behind
see,
me. but we'll see about that.
I'm more of a. It might be Columbia blue. I'm more of a. I like the logos, like say the Cowboy star, the Redskins logo, as opposed to words. I hate Alabama's helmets. The Chargers' new uniforms have numbers on them. Everything about their uniforms is beautiful, except that number on the helmet. So that's why there's the Chargers uniforms. If you were wondering what they were looking like, they got 2 separate blues. All blue jerseys. Navy blue, regular
I don't
blue. That's
like that
weird. Like, why do you
navy
have?
blue.
Why do you have 2 sets?
I don't know,
That
but when
navy
that graphic was posted on Twitter, I thought Coach Divine's done bought new uniforms for the Bulldogs up there. Burns. It's like, that's exactly what I was looking at. I was like, dang, Burns done went out and flexed. and bought
Burns
some new
does look
unis.
like a couple of those. So I come up with the concept for Phillips, and we never got to do. I was actually pricing them out when
Bees
he
on
decided to
bats.
leave. You know, the Cardinals, the birds on the bats. I designed something up for him and put the bees on the bats.
This is gonna be sick.
And
Just
so,
go right around
that
and do it.
yellow bat just stands out on that. It would stand on that green jersey, and it'd have it just bees on it instead of the Cardinals.
like the old Cardinals, yeah. Ooh.
So when he said it, I was like, I can't do a Yeti on a bat.
But you know, you can almost do the Yeti. You could do the Yeti like shadow print on the back, like in the number, like you know how they do those.
I tell you what would be cool is
Kind of like the watermark
Yeah,
on
like
the
a watermark.
How about watermark Bigfoot prints in the background?
That would be
That'd be
Just
sick.
Bigfoots, and then have
I kind
Yetis
of like
across.
it. I kind of like it, like because the logo itself is awesome.
Right.
The Yeti logo is awesome. It's obviously so unique, and not just that, but the name as well.
Now you won a national poll, right? The Yeti.
So we finished in the top 8. It was out
Yeah.
of it was out of all the junior colleges. It was the JBB poll, so the junior baseball blog, junior college baseball blog. Shout out to my boy Noah Sharp because I'll forward this to him tonight.
Yeah.
But it went to Instagram and I guess a lot of people in Cleveland County don't really use Instagram, so we lost once we got to the
I mean,
Elite
here's
Eight.
the real question though. Here's the real question. Have you guys signed a deal yet with Yeti itself, like the tumblers? Maybe getting some like.
No, so I actually in my travels, I made a big loop, a recruiting loop that I went out of pocket for that. During the ABC convention this year was in Nashville, Tennessee. So I took off. I left, Yeti Nation, went to Nashville, Memphis, Arkansas, Texas, and made a big old loop all the way around. Seeing players, putting on free workouts. We did one down in Alabama where almost 100 kids showed up for free.
Dude, what you just said has to be on a shirt. Yeti Nation. Yeti Nation has to be on a shirt, man.
Yeah. And the thing is like, Hunter, you're really good at this kind of stuff. What does a Yeti sound like?
What does a Yeti sound like?
Like, is it like
I don't know.
Chewbacca mixed with like
Now, see,
some kind of mumble?
if you could, you would have to pay so many licensing rights just to try and use Chewbacca, probably.
Because I mean, they need a sound when they
That's
hit
what
like
I'm
a
saying.
bomb.
They
That's
do
a
need a
Yeti
sound.
bomb.
If you could somehow get the Chewbacca soundbite and just modulate it a little bit to where maybe it's like deeper, dude, that would rock.
I mean,
think
like
that'd be
anything.
solid.
Just think about marketing and
I
shit.
don't
Like
know.
you could go to like Pleasant
get a honey
City,
badger sound.
and
I
you
don't
could get like the Yeti pizza or the Yeti drink, like a certain
Listen,
beer. Or a
the
drink.
name itself, it markets itself. Yeah,
It's
because
sick.
it is sick, and it's just so.
You think about Yeti hoagie sandwiches, because one thing I saw that you posted on your social media was you're trying to get some groups and some restaurants and stuff to kind of back the Yetis and
To
their
buy
menus.
in.
Well,
Yeah.
think about it. Like just right down the road right here, Max Grill puts out some of the biggest burgers and foods and a lot of burgers and stuff. Like, what if you had like a Yeti burger?
I was just sitting
Or
there
like the
thinking, like,
Yeti
you
Burger
come out to the ballpark and get the best Yeti dog in town.
I mean,
Yeah, do something like that.
Well, see, that's what we had when I was coaching in Maryland. We had Chicken Roost in downtown Annapolis. And
Right.
at Chicken Roost, they have the 2-pound burger and a pound milkshake. Now, if you can drink it and you can eat it, you get thrown up on the wall. So it's sweet. There's a lot of different things we can do.
Oh, there's a lot of stuff you can do, especially just in within the Shelby community. They'll back it 100%. Get small local restaurants that can really tie into it as well, and it's great marketing for the restaurant as well. I think that would be that it works both ways. It's great for the club and for the school as well, but it's just as good for the restaurant.
You look at what Walmart. I mean, just Walmart in itself, what they've done. If you go to Walmart now, you can buy Shelby, Kings
Oh yeah,
Mountain,
they buy
Burns,
into the
Crest.
local areas that
I mean,
they're
they
in.
buy in the local area, and then just restaurant wise, like just in the food in the area, like I can't think that you got like breakfast slammers at like Shelby Cafe with their breakfast, or like another one that people don't even talk about a whole lot unless you're in Lincoln County listening to those sports, like Mitchum's Kitchen. I mean, you get some of these folks to jump on because they will brand and put things on their menu.
We got a guy that's deep with Mitchum's Kitchen now. Terry that sits over here. He's real tight over there with Carol. So I mean,
and that's one of the things too. Like
you can create your own concoction. It could be like a chicken, a burger with a piece of chicken on top of it, and just call it the Yeti burger.
Yeah, and then put like I don't know. You could put some kind of sauce and just be like it's the Yeti secret sauce because Yetis are secretive. They just pop out.
Mysterious.
Yeah, mysterious.
Dude, this could just be a whole show. On
You should see
now.
that. You should see the mascot they have. So he posted a video,
Yeah,
and
so
everybody gets check it on
like the
Twitter.
mascot suit.
Oh, it's a full.
you need to
it's a
find the
full
Twitter from
Yeti.
yesterday.
The police were arresting the Yeti. Yeti was jumping out. I mean, the Yeti might need to make an appearance on a Saturday morning.
Now,
talk
because
show.
I am the youngest one here,
Just jump in.
and this is my era.
Oh god.
Essentially, you play the social media, you got him.
Yep.
Right? You do fun stuff with the Yeti, you've
What's
got
his
him.
name? Does he have a name?
Right
Does he have a
now,
name?
I mean, I know what I wanted to call him, but I was told in the community I wasn't allowed to call him that name. So they're just calling him Yeti right now. So
He needs a name.
he needs a
Gotta have a
name.
name.
He needs a name.
How about
Mr. Mysterious.
how about Blue?
Blue the Yeti.
Yeah, you could scream blue, and then you're yelling at the umpire, and it's we're yelling at our mascot.
Awesome because yesterday when Officer Phil pulled our Yeti mascot over, he had him up on the car on Twitter. So if you look at our Twitter on CCC Yeti_BSBL,
You should see if you could get that on Twitter because it's funny. They arrested the
what?
Yeti. It's on the Cleveland. What is it? CCC Yeti baseball.
yep. So
Twitter.
CCC
And there's a
Yeti
video of the police arrested the
_BSBL.
Yeti yesterday.
Imagine
crazy.
that. Try and get
Tell me
that
what
on
to type
national
in.
news. Yeti arrested.
Yeah, CCC Yeti _ and then BSBL. So that's our Twitter handle. Yep, right there.
God, imagine if that made national news. Yeti arrested in Shelby, North Carolina.
Old Blue. I like
Blue.
it. You could,
Hey,
cause you could do
yeah,
the
go
t-shirt
down.
like, here, my boy Blue.
Yeah.
There's you.
That Philip. That's you.
So if you scroll up a little bit, scroll up one more. real quick.
Up?
Yeah. So where the Cookie Monster was.
Okay.
So where the Cookie Monster was, I posted that this morning. So anybody who's listening, any menus that you want to post, you know, if you want to get your business out there, and we're gonna have people from all over the area coming in, and you want to get a shout out or me post your business, I mean, just drop a DM. But if you scroll down, we'll show you the video from yesterday right there. So.
You might need to like just scroll ahead and fast forward just a little bit.
I don't think I have the audio on it. I got it muted. Quick content.
Oh my God.
What's he doing?
He's seeing his little cousin out the woods.
Gotcha. How about a Where's Waldo, but Where's the Yeti contest?
See, that's what I'm talking about. We put them all over the place.
Social media, Where's the Yeti? And win 2 free tickets to the game for Tell Me Where He's At.
Here he is. Here he is.
Getting arrested yesterday. He was in violation of the coronavirus.
Now, Gene, we're not gonna get a hit on YouTube from you guys right now, are we, for playing this?
We're not gonna get claimed, huh? Take us off, right?
So Coach Bull has interfered in official police activity.
and broke out with.
Look, it just matters who you know. You gotta know somebody, Hunter.
That's all it counts. That's all it counts. Just know
What was his charges? What were they trying to arrest him for?
Trespassing.
Trespassing.
Man.
All it took was a handshake and a smile, and Coach Gene can get you out of trouble.
Hey, there you go.
Hey, maybe that could be your job while you're in Cleveland County. You're not only the community college baseball coach, you could be a bail bondsman.
I wonder why that's
BBB, Bulls Bail Bonds, baby.
With the Yeti.
With the Yeti. Me and old Phil come get you out of the slammer.
It's like those silly commercials where there's the guy and the damn emu, except it's you and the Yeti.
You and old Bill.
So if you listen to the video, one of our cops on campus, Phil starts yelling at him, "Yeah, you blue guy." So, yeah, I mean that could be a thing. Yeah.
Yeah, blue the Yeti. I don't see why not. I think that would really run. But I'm telling you, yeah, there it is.
Why not do a tour?
You have to rewind it back a little bit. It's just pretty funny. He got in trouble and got arrested by the sheriff's department.
Jump in the back, Eddie. Jump in the back. Here we go. Eddie's gonna jump in the back. I appreciate everything you do. All right.
I think it's great. I think you could do so much with the Yeti just because it is so unique.
You know, yeah, you're right, and I think it does help out with the new program.
I mean, think about it.
I think they did a good job.
It just popped in my head. You could do something like the team's cold as ice right now.
But think about
this. Ice Yeti, as cold as ice.
If it was the Cardinals or the Cougars, it would have not flew off the shelf.
It wouldn't have. No.
Yeah, Hunter wanted the Yeti to be white.
Now we do have a white Yeti, so we have 4 different the 4 different faces of the Yeti that we can use. So we have an all white one
white
too.
logo?
That is pretty icy.
I was about to say,
wait a minute.
my point to Hunter was, he was like, they should be white. They're white. And I'm like, how the hell do you know?
I mean,
Dude, what do you mean this should be white? I don't know.
then that makes you the official Yeti spotter. You're the
I'm
spotter.
saying, all right, so you see this print, right? You see this print behind you? Just imagine that not in military colors or the sandstorm, but just
lime green.
iced. Make it ice. Make it white with maybe like powder blue on
not
it
a bad
and
idea.
another blue. It's the ice. Come out tonight, everybody. It's iced out night here at Yeti Town. What is it called?
Yeti Nation.
Yeti Nation.
Yeah, Yeti Nation. It's iced out, baby. And then you just play ice, baby.
Like that.
Ooh.
Sublimated.
Sublimated digicamo.
You're an idea guy.
I am an idea guy. I really am. Idea guy. Yeah, you just come out there playing ice, baby, and that's all it counts. Yeah, I'm telling you, this is great. This is great. I'm glad we did this today. This is a great power. It's a great power. It's a great.
So now
brainstorming
Hunter's got to
session.
go home and be like, all right, I'm pulling out my crayons, my color pencils, my computer. I'm just going to come up with all
It's already
kinds.
out. That's what I do now in quarantine. It's already out.
There's a fire and ice. So Hunter's talking about the icy side with Yetis across the
Yeah,
front
but
of
then
it.
you go green flames,
Yeah.
and it ties in your color scheme.
I'm telling you, dude. There's just a lot to do.
And you have the, well, you have the
There's just
fire,
a lot to do.
You have the fire academy. You could tie in the Cleveland
We
Community
could.
College Fire Academy into that.
You thought this through.
Hey,
See?
look at it. We're all brainstorming here. We're now.
See, I
brainstormers.
wanted Philip to do some type of alternate at Bestman with the honeycomb, with the Yellow Jackets, like an alternate third a full color green jersey or yellow jersey or something with the honeycomb somehow, or like their stripes be honeycomb.
Be sick.
And instead of so the Chargers, that's a great example. If you haven't seen them, all right, look at the stripe here on the left. For years, I've said it a couple weeks ago, I want teams to incorporate their logos more like the Bengals do in their jersey, instead of just having a striped pants, a striped jersey
on there.
So the Chargers listen to you, and
the Chargers listen to me. The Patriots,
Everybody listens to us. They just don't want to give us
the
credit.
Patriots are awful. They just added their third. That's their color rush jersey, and that's going to be their full uniform now.
They got $1 million ideas. They just don't get paid for
big
them.
wide red.
Exactly.
And the Falcons
Shame.
went and got XFL or jerseys that actually look like the jerseys from the longest yard. But the Chargers, yes, I do like that. I love the bow as the line. So I would like to see, like, say, the Bengals and everybody use more lines down the side. And for example, like I was saying with the Bigfoot foot, there'd be maybe some prints on the shirt or something.
That'd
All
be
kinds
really
of
cool.
fun things.
Yeah, you could
like that.
almost use the Tar Heel foot. Just take the tar off
Right.
of it, and then there it is. There's your
And just get them
Bigfoot
painted
foot.
on the road leading into your stadium. Like, do some creative.
Yeah, kind of like, what is it? Lincoln has
Like, you just got a marketing committee
paws
all
that
in
leads-
one podcast.
Just
Now listen.
have the paws lead right up to the
I'll tell you,
end.
I'll tell you what, we'll write the contract up and we'll slide it to you later, and then we'll get to work.
Just got to be just some simple ingenuities and some
And you just need to incorporate us name-wise somewhere. It's okay. I mean,
All right.
trademark it here and there.
A couple other things here before we end the show here. About 30 more minutes left usually in what we do. I did want to mention this from this is the Panthers last year, Hunter.
Okay.
When I asked you if they would give up 40 a game to those teams, let's go through what they gave up to them last year. 20 to Tampa, 26 to Tampa. So Tampa averaged 23 against them. Tampa last year actually scored the fourth most points in the league.
That's the power of Jameis, baby.
So they're gonna have to tackle somebody.
That's the power of Jameis.
Let's see. Atlanta scored 29 on them. The Saints scored 34. Atlanta scored 40 on them. So Atlanta averaged 35 on them last year. And the Saints averaged 38 on them last year. And so the only one that didn't average 35 on them was the Bucks.
To me, just averaging 30 on them, that's a reasonable number. I'm taking that to the bank.
That's what I'm thinking.
I'm just taking it to the bank.
All right, going into the draft, we talked about that a little bit. I'm gonna go through see if I got any fun tweets and stuff before we finish up with anything. Gene, anything in particular? Jordan, wrestling, anything in particular that you really like besides the baseball? Anything else you kind of looking forward to maybe talking about? Hey, here's a good one for you, Hunter. Stat of the day. You baseball guys will like this one too. Y'all know who Bob Gibson is, don't you?
Oh yeah.
St. Louis Cardinals. Philip, you know Bob Gibson?
Yes, sir.
Bob Gibson averaged 20.2 points per game at Creighton in basketball.
Really?
Wow.
That's more than Jordan ever averaged at UNC. Bob Gibson averaged more points per game in basketball than Michael Jordan did.
Because we know good and well Dean Smith wouldn't let him get loose.
Here's your baseball stat for both of them. You ready? Gibson hit 4 homers in the minors. Jordan 3. Gibson did hit a homer in the World Series too, and won the game. But
Jordan.
No DHs.
Oh, that's a good question. You guys didn't try and get a good partnership, a brandship deal with Jordan. Yeah, some teams are kind of doing that now.
They are trying to do it. It's crazy.
He loves the Carolina. So
Yeah, that would have been a good idea.
yeah, I don't know if he's taking phone calls at the moment though.
You need to come on as an idea guy.
I'm telling you,
How about Jordan?
got a lot of time right now. I got a lot of time.
Jordan with the Wizards, 2002. 5 40-point games. The rest of the NBA, 7.
Yeah, it was feed Jordan time.
You know who had 4 of the 7? But you can't guess. Another Tar Heel. Vince Carter.
Really?
So in 2002, there was 12 40-point games. 9 of them came from the University of North Carolina. Jordan 5, Vince Carter 4. Kobe, Ray Allen, and Paul Pierce had 1 40-point game in 2000.
Remember that old commercial, that Gatorade commercial with the Raptor and Vince Carter? That was probably one of the sickest Gatorade commercials. They used to make like book covers.
That's one of my favorite. That's like one of my favorite mascots too. Is the Raptor. Just like how your Yeti is out there and it's different. The Raptor, bro, that's sick.
I think it's gonna be sick though when we have like kids come out after the game, be able to run the bases and all that, and you know, giveaways and all that.
Yeah, you just race the Yeti.
Right.
Race the Yeti.
Race the Yeti.
That's a good one.
Race the Yeti.
In the outfield, like the Braves do.
Like they
with
do with like.
What's the Mr. Freeze? Is that what his name is?
he gives them like a couple, like 10, 20 yards. He catches them down.
That guy's nasty. He's fun to watch. See if there's any other fun tweets. I think I'm good on that, Hunter. We've got the draft tomorrow night, so I kind of want to get into a little bit of that before we get out of here today. NFL draft tomorrow.
Are we in Hades right now, or is it just me?
It's warm in here.
It's warm.
It's warm.
I told you the air conditioning went down for a little
Air
bit.
conditioning went down.
It's
Water
went down.
We can open up another door.
I think
Get some more airflow.
I will manage. I've managed this far. I was just worried about the Yeti.
obviously you had.
Look, I'm just worried. I'm worried about the spokesman here for the Yeti. You know, basically melting. All right, I'm
You
just
don't want
saying.
the Yeti to melt.
We don't
I
want the
got it.
Yeti to melt.
Too much
He
ice.
needs his too much.
What's that rap song? Too much sauce? No,
Yeah, it's too much ice. I'm telling you, you get the Yeti out there, maybe in like it doesn't have to be real, but a fake chain, and he's iced out even more, man.
Bling bling.
You're
litty
playing,
with the Yeti.
You are playing into my era.
The Yeti needs a giant gold chain.
He needs a giant gold Yeti chain with his own
Like the head that goes, like,
They got posters all over the campus that says like "Get lit with the Yetis."
yeah, get lit.
Flavor Flav, how about this? How about
get
a clock
with it?
on a chain, and then with the Yeti on the logo in the middle of the clock, and then he walks around with his own clock. You know what time it is, Hunter?
See, when he does is he cracks open a beer of his own and he just stone colds it over his
This stuff's
face.
fun.
I'm telling you, man. We can have a lot of fun
What's that
with this.
TV show? East Down or whatever? Eastbound.
Eastbound and down. And so you can have a wild and out night and they all just go crazy out there. The Yeti.
Wild and out night.
If we need to get some people to throw out the first pitch, different types of people. That'd
That'd
be
be good.
yeah.
If the Yeti doesn't throw out the opening pitch though of game one, then
It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
did it even happen?
He's got to jump the center field fence to Ice Baby and run to the mound and pick up the ball.
Nice.
Uh-oh.
Chess.
Breaking news, Major League Baseball. This is y'all's punishment for cheating. Suspends the Red Sox replay operator for 1 year.
Yes. We can do it without him, baby. We'll see you next year, bud.
Hunter. That's a punishment. And they lost one draft
They
pick.
lost a draft pick.
That's all right. We're good.
Y'all
Hey, we'll take it. I can't believe you're bringing it back up. I figured it would die with the coronavirus.
I think that brings up the most important question then. Gene, have you guys installed your way of stealing and cheating pitches like the Astros have? Have y'all got that ingrained into the new field? Y'all already doing it already?
That's a Yeti
What's the
secret.
plan?
It's a Yeti secret.
Is the Yeti going to be out in the center field with the yellow flag?
Curve. He's knocking all the trash in, baby.
I'll tell you what, that'd still be a great just joke. Just to have him have out there.
I swear to God.
No.
How about this? The very first time you play a home game, right? And you go, your first batter walks up there. I'm saying as soon as the walk-off music goes off, have the Yeti somewhere in the stadium just start banging the crap out of a trash can.
That'd be fantastic.
Everybody will laugh their asses off. You're just sitting there and hey, here's the first pitch. Here, down the bat.
Look, we're just trying. We're just trying to make it like the funnest place on earth here in the western part of North Carolina. It's like, would you much rather go to see the Crawdads play, or do you want to come down here and see the Yetis play?
And I was just thinking about the Yeti's going to have to go to the fair, too. Like, you have to get the Yeti on the tilt-a-whirl, the Ferris wheel.
He's got to stuff his
But
face with a funnel
if he
cake.
started banging on crap in the stands, that would be absolutely hilarious. And get him ejected like the first game. Get the
Get the umpire in it. Just
You're out of here. He could do Sir Purr and jump on a live ball. Did you see that one?
I did.
That dude jumped on the punt. I can't believe they suspended him. He didn't know what was going on.
Oh God!
He got suspended for that, and the operator, the replay operator, like he's the one that came up with the idea, did all the cheating, did everything. Major League Baseball's so funny with this stuff. I
don't know what they're doing. They're making it up
I
as
did
they
have
go.
that as an actual question before the show started. I was going to ask Gene if they had implemented their sign stealing apparatus yet.
We haven't yet, not yet.
Not yet, but it's
Yet's the key word, Hunter.
it's the key word. It's not really yet. Listen, it's just the first part of it. You can't spell Yeti without yet.
Yeah.
Can't spell Yeti without yet.
Well, Philip, have y'all installed Jaws down in Florida yet? I was just
Hey, I'm going to be honest with you. We were so young, we were just trying to make sure that they knew when I said bunt, went bunt, and have a steal, and throw a fastball. I started telling them what's coming, and they swing and miss. I think I would lose my mind. Fastball's coming, swing and miss. I'm like, well, it has no bearing for me to have signs.
Well, you're running holes even more.
Yeah, tell them fastball and they just watch it right
Yeah,
down the
watch it
pipe.
right down the middle and take a pitch. You'd be like, son,
It's like,
what are we doing?
they're like, but Mike Trout does it. Oh,
There you go. There you go.
I like it when
wouldn't have been a show if I didn't look
ESPN
him up.
well, the ESPN hypes them up. Like, since y'all talked about it, they were talking about bringing baseball back, and all the highlights before they talk about anything Major League Baseball on ESPN is like a bunch of images of Trout. And I'm like, there's so many other talented players. Like, what is the deal? Like,
Cody
I'm not
Bellinger, I
impressed.
think, is just as good as Mike Trout.
Christian Yelich.
Oh, I love Christian Yelich.
See, I come up with this stat for the people that for the on-base percentage fans.
Asked him if he's a War fan.
You're a War fan?
War
I was gonna-
percentage.
Coach, when I go to practice,
I wonder if he likes my idea.
Coach, when I go to practice today, how do I get more war? What do I do? What do I do? How do I get war? I just shit so stupid. With the on-base percentage, for example, in a 9-inning ball game, you could walk 4 batters an inning, 3 batters double play, more batters. So that's 36 batters that could reach first base and never score a run. And one guy could hit it out of the park, and your on-base percentage is 0.35 or whatever it is, and then you're going to tell me about, well, my team's better because we got on.
Hey,
Hug first base all day you want, boy.
he's done thought this through.
I hate it. I can't stand it.
you've missed a lot of episodes.
Yeah, dude. I'm
You've
telling you,
missed
you need to
a
go
lot
back.
of episodes.
You need to go
You're
back and
on
watch.
what?
Hunter has proposed that we do away with the DH in baseball, and you only hit eight batters.
8 batters.
Ooh.
Listen, you know,
That would bring up the top of the line real quick.
Right.
Exactly.
8 batter rule.
in Major League Baseball wants offense anyways. They don't care about defense anymore. First of all, it plays to those people. Second of all, it might make the game a little bit faster.
It shuts up all the DH argument up.
But it also shuts up the fact that they're like, well, the DH is batting in this league, but the pitcher's batting in this league. And I'm like, well, just bat your 8 field players. The pitcher doesn't have to hit, and the DH doesn't have to hit.
I've not come up with a bad
We've
bad
tried to
thing
do
yet.
a rebuttal.
It's been about 2 weeks and nobody's come
I'm
up
just
with
sitting
anything.
here like, just bat 8. Sure, it's going to mess up statistics, but who cares? Hey, bat 8.
And you get more at bats with your better players.
Yeah. Wow.
It makes your pitching better every damn
Look at
good
me
too.
thinking like,
See,
how can I
I want
implement
you. Yeah, we've been trying for 2 weeks to come up with a bad. Every idea has some bad angles.
You done blown my mind today.
I'm telling you.
batters.
But what brought it
I
up
love
was
it.
them talking
I love
about, the Cactus League and the Grapefruit Leagues just stand together.
How are they going to manage?
And I'm like, just bat 8. Don't worry about pitchers and DHs.
Wait,
Just bat 8.
wait till Gastonia gets the Atlantic League team up there, and all the rules that the Atlantic League puts in. Like they back the mound up. They made the surface area of the base bigger so that you'll get to second base quicker because the surface area is a little bit bigger. There's no mound visits. They're trying to do everything. So basically, they're trying to be a proving ground, like a testing
whatever
site.
They're trying to be what the XFL was and NF for They're just trying
Have
new
you seen that
things.
stadium off Franklin?
Oh, it's going to be.
It's been shot up. Oh, they've got the metal rebar and all that up now.
I have not. The
It
last
looks
time I was
like
there,
a
it was
mini
just.
Durham Bulls.
It was
Like,
just. It was just dirt in front of the strip club. But
I'm just happy that
Like,
I'm just
legit.
happy so far 2 coaches haven't poo-pooed my idea. So well, I mean, Major League Baseball phone's open.
it's
baby.
not a bad
It's
idea.
open, baby.
I've not come up with any reason not to like that.
The only
idea.
people that will shoot holes in it are the statisticians. They're like, we've been doing this for years, batting 9 players, and it's like, well, so what?
well, they're changing.
The NFL
But they're changing
everything
everything
else
else.
is-
Gee, how far back they
Change it?
back the mound up? I've been a proponent of that for a few years. Instead of, if we want more offense, to me as a batter, if
slow the ball down.
If you gave me a half a second more, it would help the batting more than as opposed to some of these other rules.
I mean, you saw when the mound got changed. I mean, it was basically
Right.
after Bob Gibson's
Gibson was
year.
1.12. That was part of what I read. Actually, I think he had 8 complete game shutouts that year, averaged like 120 pitches a game.
And I think that's, when we went to we had like a workout when I was up at the Cape Cod League, and the balls are just flying out of Fenway. So our All-Star, our Cape Cod, they would take all the players that were on different teams, and we'd work them up at Fenway. But BP, and I asked the guy at Fenway, I was like, he's like, yeah, these are our BP balls. They're wound tighter. Like, the balls are just jumping. It's fun for the fans. I get it, but it's tough. It's the same thing like in Colorado back, they
No,
was the
same
humidor.
flies.
Well, they tried to put the humidor and whatever they could do. It's I mean, it's no matter you gotta kind of play where you're at too.
Right.
So it depends.
I've always thought you don't even have to move it back that far. Like what is it, 60 foot 6 inches? If you go 61 feet, I think that would do a little bit. Or 62 feet. I've always thought about since they changed the mound on the Gibsons, I'm like, well, maybe you could do that again, and you don't really change much about the game. Here's Gibson's June and July stats, not the whole season. 12 starts, 12 complete games, 12 wins, 8 shutouts. You ready for this one, Gene? In those 12 starts, a grand total, 6 runs.
Jesus.
12 starts, 8 shutouts, 6 total runs. Oh, and the final line, of course, 0 concerns about his damn pitch count.
I was about to say, I would love to know how many pitches he threw because that would
I'm sitting here and I'm saying this. So it's like, this would be the year though that we could just change everything.
Yeah,
It's a crazy year anyways.
Because it's a crazy year.
It's a crazy year. Why not?
They've already went in. Like I told you, the game of baseball is completely changing. You've got the instant replay. You've got the automatic robot strike zone. Now umpire gets his butt vibrated when it's a strike. If he don't feel the vibration, he don't call strike. So he just stands there for safe and out calls, and he's there to enforce any kind of like foul ball stuff. But if it's the pitch
Soon we're just
location,
gonna have robots hitting against
All right,
robots.
Gene, I got 2 proposals for my rules. These are my special rules. All right?
I like one of them.
To calm down the hitting batters on purpose slat rule, all hits batsmen get 2 bases.
Put them in scoring position.
like an international time rule.
Yeah.
Every time you hit a batter, intentionally or not intentionally, 2 bases.
That means you got to put the ball down the plate and don't try and jam him and risk hitting him.
But what else
that would
sucks is
tell-
if
I
you got
think
a
it would
base
ta-
open and you got like Barry Bonds coming to plate and you want to put him at first, it's like, all right, I can walk in a run and him be at second, actually 2 runs, and give up 2 versus giving up 4. Okay, we'll
But
see.
as a
You gotta
coach,
think
like,
about it.
I mean, I think that would take away the intent. You don't let hit people no matter what, slips. But I think that would actually take away a lot of the intentional stuff. If you're giving someone 2 bases as opposed to 1,
He's throwing a weapon at him.
if it's 9 to nothing, it don't matter.
Yeah,
If it's 5 to 1, you still hit people. sometimes.
Astros training camp this year would have been outstanding, man. They would have scored a lot of runs this training camp.
All right, here's my this is my favorite one though. 3 balls, not 4. Speed up the game, make pitchers throw more strikes. That would increase offense.
And it would reduce the number of pitches on the pitcher's arm.
Reduce pitches on pitchers.
So I actually, it's funny we're bringing this up. So I'm looking at all the Atlantic League, the crazy rules they had in 2019. But one of the things I always thought, with the specialists, when you have the setup guy, the closer, and all that, if they would love to go to a 3 better. Obviously if you bring a guy in, guy gets hurt, he's got to finish the inning. I get it. If you go to a 3 batter and you're trying to speed it up, and you put a pitch count in play, not a pitch count, sorry, a pitch
clock.
Yeah, there you go. I actually just wrote a paper. I'm working on a second master's right now about the pitch clock and the study they did in the Arizona Fall League. But to kind of get on the point, though, when you kind of try to speed everything up, the recovery time that you have to kind of catch the ball, we don't think about this, but when you're trying to have the body in motion and the kinetic chain to go again, the body doesn't have time to reset. And I think we're so worried about kind of getting to commercial timeout and all that kind of stuff and taking away that we don't kind of think about how our bodies are going to break down and all that kind of stuff. Major League Baseball, obviously it's all about money. If me personally, MLB commissioner for a day, I love to put, commercials into the game. You just, some people are already doing it. You see a lot in soccer because
Or NASCAR.
NASCAR does it too. The pitcher in pitcher. I mean, I'm stealing the idea from Georgia Gwinnett, NAI school down in Georgia. I mean, when they make a pitching change, they're rolling, but now they're going live, so they always have their camera on. But they throw up sponsors all the time. I think we don't think about that. I think the fact that baseball's changed a lot too since the 70s and 80s because you're not having Nolan Ryan going out there and you're not taking a ball for him. It's easy for me to get on these Zoom chats with high school coaches or travel coaches like, oh yeah, I want a bulldog. I want a guy that I gotta rip the ball out of his hands. That's great. I want a guy like Coach Russ. He's got foam coming out of his mouth. That's awesome. But I think we also gotta kind of we gotta look to the fact that this game's going to keep evolving too. like it or not, the game's getting faster. The guys are getting stronger that play this game too. The body is going to break down. So we got to kind of see what that point is and kind of what we're going to do to. It's a fine line that we have as coaches have to keep an eye on.
So you don't like the pitch, the count, the shot pitch clock? I guess it was.
Pitch clock. I
don't know if I would like that.
Honestly, like I'm a tempo person, so if you get in groove, you keep going. But if you don't teach that, it really.
That's how Bob Gibson was. He got on the mound,
correct,
throwing the ball, I pitched like that because I didn't throw it hard enough. I'm like, I want you to get in there and I want to throw something curvy at you. I want to throw it as quick as I can, so you're thinking about it. Right. I think a lot of that takes away. You talked about the three batter rule. I don't like that one in particular. I like maybe two batter if you're going to do it, but three's a little much to me.
Yep.
I guess just as a fan though, I cannot stand when I'm watching it on television and he throws maybe 3 or 4 balls and I'm like, all right, we're switching them out for somebody else. I know for
understand.
coaching aspect, you're like, that's great, but I'm a consumer. I'm like, dude, this sucks.
I've watched Tony Lewis. I watched Lewis to do that for 15 years. It used to drive me. My dad, he would lose his mind. Like, drives me nuts. Why do you take the pitcher out who's giving up no runs to put in the long inning reliever, and he comes in here and gets rocked? And it used to drive him crazy on that. But
how about when they decide the game's out of motion and they start grabbing position players and they're like, all right, go to the mound. And like that's the thing that I think we had that conversation. What drives me nuts is there's guys that pitch that can go in and get you an out, but you look at the game, all right, it's already done. So shortstop, second string shortstop, go to the mound, son.
I don't mind the play. I don't mind. I think that's fun. But what I don't understand what you're saying is that there's guys paid to do that.
But they're just sitting there.
There's 13 guys sitting down there.
Well, see, that's the difference.
He's going to throw anyway today.
And I think that's the difference from, especially a JUCO game, because we'll have some two-way guys than the pro game. I mean, in Baltimore, we had Chris Davis throw against the Red Sox. I mean, it's, I get it. I mean, at the time, he's not.
Yeah, you're an Orioles fan, right?
I am an Orioles fan.
You like Hunter?
I do.
You like Hunter? I went to high school with him. He's only a year older than me.
You see, he won the. There was a little poll online because they can't do anything anyways. He won like the best hair. It was him. I forgot who it was.
Yeah, I was like, Holden cuts his hair. Holden wanted to cut my hair one time. I was like, nah, dude, that's what you do to Hunter. I don't want that. I don't want that mullet.
I got his dad's action figure.
I got a bunch of his dad's cards from when we would go to career days.
I got one of those. I got Brian Harvey down the hall.
He would just sit there. Brian would come in on career days at Cheryl Swart Elementary when we were all sitting there. He would just sign cards and hand them to us. And it's like,
what do you think about 3 balls?
What are you going to tell him?
See, I'm a traditionalist too,
though.
Yeah,
he's a traditionalist. He likes 2 balls. And 1 bat.
Shit.
See?
Tradition.
Yeah.
We're talking baseball, not gender.
You said.
How about this?
No, I was like,
quick idea on the Yeti. How about you need an artist?
No,
to do
we can't
this.
put balls on the Yeti.
What if? That's what. Oh God, that's not what I was thinking. What about Yeti? What about the Yeti? Some type of logo where he's holding a bat, but the bat he made himself.
Oh, it's like a,
You get
it's
the
like
concept
like a
on it?
limb.
Like Wonder Boy. He's doing a limb.
It's like a limb
with a leaf or something sticking out of it, but it's in the shape of a bat. He still made it, but it still looks like a damn tree, and that's just what he carries. You carry a big stick, Hunter, and that right on it, the big stick.
The big stick.
Yeah, the big stick.
Big stick.
Be quiet, but carry a big stick. Or isn't that what was the president?
Yeah, it was Teddy Roosevelt.
You can have that on the back of your t-shirt.
Big stick diplomacy.
All right, while I'm on new rules, this is not a football rule. I mean a baseball rule. I ask Gene what he thinks about this. This is my football rule for NFL, college, maybe even high school. You know how we have offsetting penalties. Most of the time, offsetting penalties are personal fouls, almost every time. So 2 guys can smack the crap out of each other for 5 minutes, and then the refs say, nothing happened. Nothing happened. So my proposal is, in football, for personal, and then another thing I don't like how they fine the guys. We've got a contract, I'm playing football, then if I hit somebody, and this guy thinks it's wrong, you take my money. Brady can't be fined. What can Brady be fined for? Quarterbacks can't. So it's really on the defense who's making less money anyway. So instead of taking money from the guys, instead of doing offsetting penalties, hockey-style penalty box. So the guy who commits the 15-yard penalty, you're out with it for a series, or 15 minutes, or a whole quarter. However you want to do it. It's an immediate. You're out, but you get to come back in later. Now I'm not saying 11 on 10. I'm saying you're still 11 on 11, But this guy can't play this quarter.
I'll tell you,
I don't want that.
I'll tell you what, that would have definitely changed up the Burns Crest game this year. I was there. I mean, absolutely. Yeah, that's interesting. So,
Set the guys in the penalty box for a 5-minute penalty. This is a hockey guy, and you see it now. Instead, like I said, instead of doing 11 on 11, he wants 11 on 10. He wants that. Look, that's what he wants.
I'm just saying, I want to let him
bring the sub
because
in.
look, if the defense, because then when the player comes off the field, he's getting the ramifications from the defensive coordinator, the head coach saying, "You just fucked us because we gotta play this 11 on 10."
They get the same thing when the scrub comes in and off the bench and gets burnt. But look, I'm just trying to keep the.
I'm just saying, that
drives me crazy more than anything.
It would make them think a little bit more.
Two guys hit each other and offsetting penalties. Nothing happens.
Hey, if it's offsetting, well, 10 on 10.
Put him in a penalty box.
10 on 10.
penalty box.
Nah, let him throw down right.
Would you like a one drive penalty box or a quarter or like a 10-minute no matter what penalty box? That would be the options basically. You either get a quarter, you get the next drive.
If it's 11 on 10,
you
and
get
it's
10 minutes.
a full drive.
Man, if you got to take away, especially like your safety,
I'm telling you, it could hurt.
it could hurt.
Yeah, a DB would come out
gotta
and
shut
hurt a
down
lot more.
corners.
Yeah. Instead of taking his money away and this fake penalty we just gave him for no reason, let's put him in the penalty box, bring the sub in. He's got to the next train, come back in the next
Let's hear
drive.
from Coach Russ. He's a football guy too. He's hiding over there. Let's hear from you. What do you think?
The whole time you're talking about,
Hit 'em up, hit 'em up, hit 'em
like,
up.
what is it? The Mighty Ducks, the Bash Brothers, and how
Bash
they
Brothers.
crap out of people on
Yeah.
purpose. So then you think a little bit about like the New Orleans Saints and the year they had the bounty. Now you're having bounties come back. So I mean, it basically,
I don't think-
if it all plays up, it turns back into what is the movie Any Given Sunday with Jamie Foxx.
Awesome.
And LL Cool J.
I don't
And it
think
just all
the
plays out.
bounties.
It's a good movie.
I don't think bounties would come back. I think if anything, it would deter
I don't
bounties
think they
because
ever went. To be
they.
honest with you, I don't think they ever went away.
No, I don't think they did either.
Don't let Greg Williams hear you.
No, they didn't go away. I just think, something
I mean,
different.
you mean to tell
Even
me-
if it's, I don't care what that is. I like my idea, of course, but just something
I
different.
think your idea is stupid.
than offsetting penalties.
Did you see what Peyton Manning said on his little show that he does with ESPN?
Peyton
Peyton's
places.
places.
Yeah, he was talking about when J.J. Watt just drove him in the ground.
Yeah.
So they were playing.
Romo got that twice. One from Thomas Davis.
So I think
Bastard.
it was in the Pro Bowl about a year later,
Yeah.
and he hits him and breaks his pinky. He's like, "This is the only way I can get him back." And he's like, and he was happy about it too. He's like, "Yep, I just reared back and boom," because he's like, they brought him out. He's like, "Oh, he's going to come out for a pass. Here you go." And I just, I think that's one of the things too. Like in football, like you said, like the defense is what's going to get penalized all the time. So, what do you do to kind of bring it in? Yeah,
I really don't like taking his money away. I mean, that one is so weird.
I was
to me.
also-
Like, for
They
a
want to
penalty.
put it in my pocket.
Like for a penalty. Like the offensive line don't get penalized for holding.
I
Here,
mean,
$10,000 fine. You held that
It'd
guy.
be different if you take the
Now wait a minute. Quentin Nelson did get a $25,000 fine for a pancake hit he put on a defensive player,
All right.
but they said it was helmet to helmet.
Okay.
Whatever. Excuse me.
So I was actually in Cleveland when the whole helmet thing happened. So,
with
so, my
Pittsburgh?
my brother's a Steelers fan, and the only time since I just got down
He's
here,
forgiven.
yeah. So he was like, I was like, "What do you want to do? What do you want to do? Like, we're gonna meet up, whatever." He's like, "Well, let's try to make it work so like we can see the family and all that." So my niece really wanted to see Luke Combs, so we did Thursday Night Football, Steelers Browns, and Luke Combs was in concert Saturday.
There you go.
Right down there. But we were right there for the whole thing. I just, you think about that, it's just, I'm surprised it hasn't happened more. I hate to say it like that, but,
I'm with you on that. I'm surprised it hasn't happened.
it
more.
hasn't happened more.
I think that's why everybody was so in shock because they're like, "Oh shit, we've thought about doing this and he did it."
Well, they were
did it!
They were talking to him all game long, and they did a good job of quieting that down. And nothing happened. He just said, we were right there, and you can hear. Like, I can't believe this didn't get blown up on ESPN. And I'm like, they're talking smack the whole game. But again, you got to have some type of presence about yourself not to go in and take somebody's helmet and try to hit him in the head.
Now wait a minute, Gene. Wait a minute, Gene. Before we go, I want to give you my perspective. I am a Browns fan. Myles Garrett acted in 100% self-defense, and I can prove it.
Well, here, let me ask.
He is not at fault at all. He is not at fault at all.
We got a good
Are
setup
you ready
here.
for this, Gene? Are you ready? Here's my lawyer talk. All right. So, Gene,
I hope my brother doesn't watch this.
let's pretend, Gene, you're walking down the street, okay? And you're hanging out in Shelby. You're just walking around, celebrating plays with my friends. I love each other, just to play. Let's see if it's the play. Yeah. All right. Now, we'll start here. No, that wasn't the play. Is that not the play? What are we doing here? Why are we showing me plays that aren't the helmet hit? Come on, let's go, YouTube. All right, here we go. So Garrett gets the sack here. Now, two guys had him right here. Now, y'all know what they did to Romo. They landed on him, right? Who hits the ground first? Who's on the ground? Myles Garrett.
Myles Garrett is.
Myles Garrett's on the ground first. So he didn't slam him to the ground. That means Rudolph's on top of him. Now, who makes the first touch to a helmet? Rudolph! So if you're walking down the street and a guy grabs your hat, Gene,
And twist your neck.
twist your neck, Gene,
And
tries to rip the helmet off of
It
you.
calls you a racial slur, is supposedly what was said
So
there.
up until this second, Mason Rudolph is the aggressor and the leader.
And the two offensive line buddies, the two bodyguards of the little
Now,
guys.
yeah, that's what I was about to get to next. Now, in the middle of the fracas you're having on the sidewalk right now, that guy who's ripping your hat off, two buddies come up.
At Pleasant City, let's not forget that.
So now, Gene, you're 1-on-3 against a guy who just ripped your hat off and two of his bigger than you buddies.
Doesn't he take a shot at him and try to get him in the
Yeah, he tries to
did.
get him.
He gets him with that foot. I saw it a little bit.
Yeah, then he tried to kick you in the balls.
Yeah. Let's just say how it is.
So you've been kicked in the balls, your hat ripped off, and
You're being assaulted.
two guys are on top of you.
Assault.
You're being assaulted by three men.
And his hat accidentally falls off. Do you beat him with his own hat?
And if he tries to rip your hat off, and you decide, you know what, I'm going to rip your hat off and hit you with your hat.
Wait. I have to make sure
Now,
I don't copyright it.
At this point, Garrett still has not assaulted Mason Rudolph. He pulled his hat off. Now, which way is Garrett going? Away from Rudolph. Watch him. He's not going on top of him, beating him in the head. Look at that. Oh, he pushed him in it.
Oh, God.
That'd make me
now watch
imagine
Garrett.
anything.
Backing up. Now, who's chasing Garrett right now? Rudolph.
Oh, I know.
So Garrett is being one of this guy's goons is holding your shirt while the aggressor comes at you again.
Who thought this would have been brought up another 7 to 8 months after?
Look at this.
Surprise.
The aggressor attacks him, and in defense, he hits him.
He got him good, too.
Wait a minute. He hit him with the safe part of the helmet, Gene. Look what he hit him with. The pad. Pad hit him in the helmet. Didn't hit him with the hard part. Didn't hit him in the face. He hit him with a pad on top.
Because he thought about it. He thought, I'm going to hit him with this pad.
We're still not through with the assault. So after that self-defense, two more guys assault Garrett. This one punching him. So Garrett has been assaulted twice now. Kicked him. That guy kicks him in the helmet.
It's Pouncy.
Pouncey's still throwing punches.
Listen, hey,
And the only thing that Garrett did in the whole time was take the other guy's hat off who took his hat off and then smacked him with the pad.
Hey, that doesn't surprise me about Pouncy.
That is my Cleveland
he was down
Browns-
there in Florida days with
That's my Cleveland Browns lawyer defense of everything that happened that Myles Garrett did.
I think you win your case.
Thank you for your case.
That's wild. I mean, the whole thing was too. I can't believe we were still at the game at that time because my niece was like begging to leave. She's like, "It's cold.
Yeah.
I'm freezing." I'm like, "No, we're staying because I bought tickets to this game. We are staying," and I'm glad because I got a story. But it's just
You're at a historic football game.
that's right. Thanks.
I was at the Patriots-Panthers game where Kuechly tackled Gronk in the end zone before the ball wasn't even close to him. I was in the 8th row for that one. I almost threw the flag myself, Gene. Everybody in the stadium saw him hold him. But yeah, Myles Garrett, tell your folks, tell your friends, it's all Mason Randolph's fault or whatever.
All right,
Rudolph's
let me
fault.
ask you this. So when those things happen with what just happened to Kyle Larson, did he lose his job and have what happened to him and NASCAR pull the trigger because of the pandemic we're in and because the whole world's watching NASCAR online racing, that it cost him his job with his slur versus letting Riley Cooper play football, letting Mason Rudolph play football with, because people do use slurs in pro sports, but it's Kyle Larson's done.
The difference on Larson,
I mean, they fired him
before
for
you
all
give
this stuff.
y'all's opinions on the difference on Larson, Philip, is 100%. It's a sponsorship thing.
Okay.
You're a business tied to him. You're an employee of him. So He's going to get to race in World of Outlaws. NASCAR didn't get rid of him, so if he wanted to pay for his own car, he could do
I
it.
was about to say the one that dropped was Ganassi.
Right. Ganassi dropped it. He was going to be a free agent this
He
year
was going to
anyway.
be suspended indefinitely, but
Right.
they could always,
NASCAR
take that away.
suspended.
The thing is
It's not that I support it. I just,
I think that's a sponsor
when you
thing.
think about the
I know what you're.
situationals,
I know
like-
exactly what you're saying.
Like Riley Cooper went right back in the locker room, said publicly, "I'm sorry," and
Right.
that was about all that.
That was about all it was. And Michael
then-
Vick and all of them were like, "Yeah, we're good, dude."
Yeah, I mean, and then Kyle does it, and they, I guess, because there's nothing to report in sports.
No, it is it.
They went to the gallows.
100%.
And it's like nobody in the world, like, you have to admit, either you're a NASCAR person or you're not. And if you're not, you don't care.
And it does. I
they
can
went-
agree with what Kevin says on sponsorship wise, because that's literally one of the few sports in the world where you yourself as a brand, your face is you're basically a face of sponsorship. Like a lot of people think of M&M's and Kyle Busch is plastered everywhere. So if Kyle
Right.
Busch was to come out and say that, and then that would look so bad on M&M's,
Right.
that would look bad on everybody else that sponsors him. So you're losing so much money, not just on that person, but on that car and towards the team as a whole. So I'm not surprised that the Ganassi had to move off from Kyle Larson. What hurts Ganassi is, I think what hurts is the fact that Ganassi was basically pinned into a corner and had to do that because Kyle Larson is such a good NASCAR driver.
So he's a
free agent. If JGR wants to sign him, if Hendrick wants to sign him, they would. I think they'll take a shot.
The
on him.
rumors before the year was over was Hendricks and Stuart Haas. Hendricks,
Well, aren't they both Chevrolet anyways? I know Hendrick is.
No, Stuart Haas is
Is
Ford
Ford?
now.
Okay.
Hendricks now is pretty much out. So
They've said
they're saying pretty much if he's going to come back, the road will be through Stuart Haas's fourth car. But Philip, Gene can say too. I honestly think it's 100% on it's an individual sponsorship thing. PGA, let's think of it as a golfer. He would probably lost all of his sponsorship.
Just think about what happened
PGA
to
may have
Tiger.
suspended him for a couple of months, but eventually he would have come back as an individual type sport.
That's the
Well,
best comp we can do. Just look at what happened to Tiger. He didn't use a slur, but it was just his personal life. And
Right.
after that, he got dropped left and right.
Let me ask you this. This is the last question I had for both of you because now that they've come out with this documentary, Michael and LeBron.
I thought it's Michael from the beginning. It's not
Because there's a lot of
question.
people still debating that, even seeing that.
I think
And
it
they
is
still
an
have
insult
LeBron.
and disrespectful to basketball Jesus to even bring up LeBron's name in the conversation.
I know. I mean, my thing is, you see how many Hall of Famers are talking about how real and amazing Michael Jordan was. Who says that about LeBron in today's game? Other than being a bully in the post and doing the things that LeBron does
Well,
with what Michael did.
Well, that's
And
the
who-
thing. I don't think LeBron could even play back in Jordan's day. I don't think he could take one in the ribs. I just don't. I don't think he's going to be physical the whole time. I mean, especially the Pistons teams. I don't think the beating that he would have took, especially with Detroit, the fans in general too. I mean, come on.
LeBron has shown in the past that he's not as thick-skinned as possibly Michael and the rest of the players were in the
Well, Michael had
late
that-
80s, early 90s.
Michael had that thing where he's going to prove you wrong. And
Yeah.
LeBron, I think, LeBron is just a... The only defense I got of him is he's a good product of the environment that he plays in currently. I don't think you could put him in that decade of the 80s and the 90s and expect to see the same type of LeBron. Because there's so much talent. Not saying that the NBA is not talented now, but, I mean, just in those first two episodes, the guys that were talking outside of the Bulls, look how many, studs were still playing.
Well,
I think the style-
it's difficult too for us to say this right now with LeBron because if I had to sit here and think off the top of my head, what sure ballot Hall of Famers has LeBron really played against that are like to the level that we hold the Larry Birds, the Magic Johnsons, the Isaiah Thomases, and all the other guys that Michael played against? I'm sitting here and I'm thinking maybe Dwayne, but even then he teamed up with Dwayne. Kobe, he really didn't play Kobe much because
Right.
Kobe was West and they never met in the championship.
Would you put
Kevin Durant.
Durant is the
Kevin Durant might be
KG,
Kevin
Paul
Garnett,
Pierce.
and then he lost to Dirk in the finals, who's a
Yeah.
Hall of Famer. He lost to Tim
Steve
Duncan.
Nash.
He split with Tim Duncan in the finals. So I sit here and I think about what sure ballot Hall of Famers did he play against that are of those equivalents that we hold: Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, Isaiah, Olajuwon,
Yeah.
Carmelo.
who all did his 3 championships were against?
You talking about LeBron?
Mm-hmm.
LeBron, so he won a championship
Beat the
against
Spurs, and the Spurs beat
Ray
them.
Allen beat the Spurs on the final
He beat the
shot.
Spurs, and the Spurs
Yes.
also beat them. They
Yes.
beat the Mavericks, and the Mavericks also beat them.
No, they didn't beat the Mavericks. They only played the Mavericks.
The early Heat beat the Mavericks.
Oh, okay.
LeBron wasn't there for that one. Who was the other one they beat?
Oh, yeah. Well, who you just talking about? LeBron?
Yeah, who's the
LeBron
championship?
has won a championship against Golden State,
OKC.
OKC,
State.
and the Spurs. That's
So
it.
he's beat Durant twice, and Durant's beat him twice. Right?
Yeah.
All right.
Because see, that's what they try to say is they bring up the fact that LeBron scored like 51, 9 and 9 or something in the game one against the Golden State Warriors in one of the finals because everybody wants to bring up the 63 that Jordan scored against the Birds or against Birds Celtics and lost.
And
Like
lost.
that, like they were both losses. And I'm thinking, yeah, that's fine, but
But when
it's
he
63
lo-
and it's still a record in
But if you go back
in
to
the playoffs.
before that happened, though, Michael didn't have his cast. The game he lost against Bird when
No,
he
he
dropped
didn't
those
have
points, he
nobody.
didn't have anybody. They didn't build that roster till the next year.
And you know what I
So
like
he was
to
out
bring
there
up?
with all,
Yeah.
like what they said, what do you call it? Chicago's traveling cocaine circus?
Yeah,
And,
and,
he was
what I
playing
like
with
to bring
them.
up too, when people bring up LeBron, they're like, "Oh, well, Jordan, they all stuck together. That he didn't just win it alone. He couldn't win it without Scotty and without Steve Kerr and all them." And I look at them and I say, LeBron handpicks all of his teams, and he still can't win. And 100%, he handpicks. He is the general manager, exception for his first time in Cleveland.
Yeah.
When he was in Miami, he got together his boys, and they only won 2 championships.
Gene, I make the argument that I could poo-poo the LeBron versus Jordan without even mentioning the Chicago Bulls. You ready? LeBron brought shame upon this country.
I hear it all the time.
1936, 1948, 1952, 56, 60, 64, 68, 76, 84, 92, 96, all gold medals. 1988, we did not win a gold medal because we did not allow our pro basketball players to play. Jordan won in 84. He didn't get to play in 88. Won in 92. LeBron's James is what I call him because he brought shame to this nation in 2004, winning the only professionally teamed bronze medal in basketball history. Michael Jordan ain't got no bronze medal. Bronze.
What do you say? What do you say on the last dance when they won the McDonald's? It was like, this trophy's a brother.
He don't want
They
that.
didn't even a real
Bronze
trophy.
medal.
They just don't
All
mean
right, that's
nothing.
the first thing. Then the second thing is Space Jam. Here's why. Phil and Gene here. In Space Jam, you've seen it, haven't you?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. In Space Jam, aliens stole the talents from some NBA players. And us humans, and the Toons, had to put a team against them to save the human race from becoming slaves, right? So we send Michael Jordan, 6-0 in championships, greatest of all time.
Defensive player of the year.
The last play of the game, what did he do? He dunked on them Monstars' heads. So you're telling me the aliens have come back. New guys have come back. They've come to the earth. Jordan's too old to play. And our idea is to send someone who's 3-6. My freedom.
And he's going to kick it to the corner.
And he's got a bronze medal.
And at the end of the game, he's going to kick it to the corner to Elmer Fudd for a jumper because that's the right basketball play instead of dunking on their heads. So my freedom
Or better yet,
is on the shoulders of a 3-6 bronze medal winning guy who's going to pass it to a cartoon in the
Michael
corner.
Jordan also has an NCAA national champion.
Case is over.
He's won about everything you can win. Michael has.
That's my case without even mentioning the Bulls. I can say Space Jam
To me, it's
in the
just-
Olympics.
To me, it'll always come back to LeBron handpicks his teams, and still no guarantee he wins.
All right. Just some more Jordan stuff, real quick. Fun stats. How about
It's true.
What you said that defensive player of the year, other than Alvin Robertson, I guess Dad's blowing grass today. Other than Alvin Robertson, the only guard to win defensive player of the year. He did that in '88, I think. Let's see. He averaged 30 a game. He's the all-time leading scorer in points. At 6'6" a guard, everyone else on the list is LeBron's size, except Iverson, of course. Iverson shot 50 times a game. But anyway, 6'6" guard, averaged 30 a game. And you're talking style, and you're talking style about LeBron. Let's go back a sec. When Michael played, there was hand checking, right? When Michael played, there was a center in the lane. It's 7-foot shot
got
blocker.
assaulted when they played Detroit.
And when Michael played, there was a power forward in the lane as well.
Now they're running three-guard offenses.
Now, yes. So let's go to today's offense. Well, so let's put LeBron back then. Well, let's put him then first. What's his go-to move? Dip your shoulder and run over the guy.
Run
Fast
throw.
forward.
Yep.
that's not really a move. So if you're allowed to hand check and foul LeBron instead of letting him run over you, how many of those drives to the baskets end up in 2 free throws as opposed to and ones or layups? Now another thing. Back then, the big man, Lambeer, how much was Scottie Pippen getting paid?
Nothing.
$2 million? Now Cody Zeller gets $15 million. Now, if you're Cody Zeller and LeBron's coming through the lane for $2 million and my job on the line, I might block a shot.
15 million, I'm gonna step out of the
But
way.
for $15 million, I get to play tomorrow. Am I challenging 260 pounds coming down the lane? I'm not. And you see that all the time in these, especially in the NBA players since they've gone up. The shot
So
blocking,
do you-
the attacking the defender. Hold on. So Jordan put him in today, and there's no hand checking. He averaged 30 with hand checking and with people hitting him. What's he going to do once the guy guarding him can't hand check him and he blows by him? Now, in today's game, when you blow by somebody, who's at the rim?
Nobody.
Wide open.
He's going to score 40 a game. I don't care what anybody says. It's almost impossible for him not to get 40 a game in those situations if you flipped them. So that's kind of my point on the Jordan Styles is that, man, the rules alone change a lot of what you did or could do based on like if you played today. Like they're saying we didn't shoot 3-pointers. Well, my God, he averaged 30 without shooting. Gene, the year he scored 37 a game, he shot 0.8 threes a game. Harden shoots 8 a game. Right? That's and he scores less points. So the dude averaged 37 with no threes. At 6'6", not the center, not the power forward. So all that, Philip. If I say all that, and then your response is, well, LeBron is taller and stronger than that.
Can pass better.
See, the only comparison you should be able to do in the NBA right now is compare Zion and LeBron. I think Michael needs to be out of that comparison.
And that's what's funny is in 5 years, 10 years, when LeBron's done, all the Zion fans, they're going to piss the LeBron fans off.
Yeah, because it's going to be
Zion's the best thing we've ever seen.
Exactly.
LeBron couldn't do that.
That's what I'm trying to say. They should move Michael out. The best comparison, because they're both similar style play, LeBron and Zion.
Jalen Rose said yesterday or the day before that quit talking about LeBron on Mount Rushmore and Michael. He's got to pass Kareem, Wilt,
Magic Johnson.
and Magic first. Magic won 5. Before
Bill Russell, too.
right. And before, let's say 2000, the argument Mount Rushmore was probably Russell, Jabbar, Jordan, and Magic maybe. And people would say maybe Bird if you want to take off Jabbar or Russell, but I don't know if you can take off those two at all. So and then now all of a sudden we've taken the centers off completely.
Yep.
We don't even talk about them anymore because they don't even play that style of play anymore. And so the kids today, when they talk about the kids today, love Shaq. Like anytime they bring up the greatest ever, they'll throw Shaq in there. But I don't know if you guys remember, but
I remember the Magic.
Olajuwon smoked him.
Uh-huh.
David Robinson used to put points on him. All the centers put points on Shaq. When did he start winning championships? Once all those guys were gone? He didn't win championship. Those championships. David Robinson was in his last years. Akeem Olajuwon may have even been in Toronto by then. So Shaq didn't have the skills. He was bigger, stronger. That's how I see LeBron. Yeah, he's bigger, stronger than me. He's bigger, stronger than Pippen. But Pippen's probably a better defender. I mean, rebound. I don't know. It's just kind of weird. I think Andre was bringing up people were making fun of Larry Bird today, saying he couldn't play today. I'm just that stuff's so funny to me. Like the guys back then, what they're saying would Jordan have been coming off the bench now? Is that what they're saying?
I did a whole argument.
Hunter did a paper on the sizes of the guys. Go ahead, Hunter.
No, I was just gonna say, like, I did a whole argument in the paper that
I'll bring this up here in a minute at the end of the show.
90s players, you know, the argument that today's players are bigger, faster, and stronger. First of all, today's players are an inch shorter, and they're only 8 pounds heavier. So I guess someone learned how to eat an extra pizza and lift a little bit more
From
weight.
81 until 2018, the average height in the NBA was 6'7". It was
Today's
back to
6'6".
6'6".
Because everyone wants to play
6'6"
small
and back
ball,
to 79.
and they don't play true power forwards or centers anymore. So
It's
and they only today's game only outscores the 1990s by 3 points. So they only score 3 more points today, but they take 25 3-point shots a game
right.
compared to
score 3 more points.
to 12 that they took back in the 90s. So you're shooting twice as many threes and you're only scoring 3 more points. The notion is it's laughable. It's just laughable. I've done the countless research. I've written the paper. So
The math on it for the
Come at me,
threes, you've
bro.
got to shoot close to 40% or better to do better than someone who does really good at twos. All right, Andre brought this down the hall. This is for Hunter and Gene, actually, probably.
True.
Andre's a Bucks fan. He's having a good week with the Gronk. He printed this off. A form for you folks. This is an official NFL bandwagon transfer form. I'm gonna hold it up to my sign there. So if Gene or Hunter, you guys want to join the Bucks,
Do I get to light the cannon?
that could sway me.
I mean, if I get to light the cannon every touchdown,
Go Bucks!
we don't have that. We don't have that.
nope. Go Yetis.
Go Yetis.
Yetis.
Yeti Nation.
Go Yetis.
So Andre's putting that. He is a Bucks fan. I know 3 Bucks fans, and they've all posted already online at some point. I was a Bucks fan before this year. With that said, let me finish up on this. Gene, Redskins fan. We talk about your logo all the time. If that's an issue or not, our solution, or my solution, is for the Redskins to go the way of the Arkansas Razorbacks. Warthog logo, red Warthog logo. You keep you keep the name Redskins because he's red. You keep it goes with the Hogs.
You know, we used to have the Warhogs team. It was an indoor soccer team in DC.
Yeah.
That's wild. I didn't even think
What
about
was
that.
their name?
Warthogs.
DC
It
Warthog.
was the Washington Warthogs.
Washington Warthog.
Yeah.
So that's where I've been going with that, is wanting them to kind of go like use the Hogs name. You keep the same colors, you keep the same everything. The only thing you're doing is adding a new logo to the team.
It's doable.
And instead of having the Indian.
The same thing Ole Miss did when they changed out the Rebel for the Bull Shark.
There's a Washington Warthogs real quick. I'll pull it up for the folks at home. This is what Gene's talking about.
Here we go. Yeah. Indoor soccer, baby.
Washington Warthogs. The Washington Redskins, and then just use a Warthog as your logo. You've heard some good ideas today, haven't you, Gene? You didn't know that before you came in here.
Make sure you come back, Gene. We got more of them.
You got more, do we?
I got more.
You got more now.
Hey, maybe. Just maybe. I got the contract written up and everything.
All right, Gene, anything else you want to say to folks or anything else before we get out of here today and wrap it up? Thanks for coming in, first
Yes,
of all.
thank you.
I think the biggest thing too, anytime somebody takes over a program, everybody looks for a handout. Somebody come in, oh, we need money, we need this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to stay it just like my guy down at Stephen F. Olson said when he took over the football job. We don't just want your treasure, we want your talents and whatever you can provide. I think that's your time, your treasures, and your talent. I think so much is asked for the community that it seems like every nonprofit, at certain times of the year, they're nowhere to be found all over. We want to be, in the community and, kind of give back all the time. We were on the phone today with a couple of people in the community, kind of what can we do to help? And I think that's where you see a lot of college programs, they kind of forget their roots and where they're from. I want to make sure, whatever, Yeti Nation needs, just a direct message, email, phone call away. Other thing too, especially during this time, if you got a house or something, or you got a trailer, or you got a rental property, and you need to get some people in there, get some rent going through, we're going to have a lot of kids that need some place to stay too.
Something you don't really think about in a smaller city, smaller town. For people to live. As opposed, a lot of big cities and stuff, you guys could have
Right.
all kinds of apartment complexes.
And we're not offering housing. So, at the Division II junior college level, we can't offer any housing money or all that. We can offer options saying, hey, these are the options that you can go in Cleveland County, or this is a person you can talk to. But if there's people around Cleveland County that says, hey, I got a basement, or hey, I want to make some extra money, I got a double wide trailer right on our property, by all means, reach out.
The CPL does. Well, when the guys come in, they stay in sponsors' houses or however that works.
And that's actually the idea I want to get. And that's perfect segment. Sponsor a Yeti. Adopt a Yeti, because I think, I love to do like the local businesses after games. And I was talking to Coach Russ about it. The local business comes through at Pleasant City, whoever, and they do the dinner afterwards. Instead of guys have to Russ to try to get
Right.
something to eat at 8:30, whatever. You know, you're paying for both teams. Now, we bring a team into play. Now they're getting fed after games too. So I mean, it's a recruiting tactic. Well, you know, we got to recruit on campus. They see that. They're not going to get that from many places.
Right. I got you.
I had a question for you after that, but I went blank on the last sentence. Damn it, Phil. It was a good one too. You would have liked it. That's how confident I am in my
But you know, we
take.
can just transition next time.
I was about to say, but you know what? That is a good segue.
Oh, there we go. People like Phil, Phillips went to Florida. His dad's got an extra bedroom. He can host a Yeti. There you go. If your kids have went off to college, you got a room for you guys.
There you go.
Do you two want to sing "Hail the Redskins" to the end of the show, or do you want me to play off the radio?
No, I'm gonna wait and see what we do tomorrow night.
All right. Tomorrow night, folks, we're going to do a live draft party. I was going to mention to you after this. If
Wings Pizza.
we're going to have pizza, we are going to have pizza.
One thing
so-
Kevin does, he will provide you with good food.
It's about the only thing we get people to sponsor with is giving us food.
I'm telling you, it's a great, delicious.
What's wrong with it?
Well, we might be able to get the Yeti down here for that draft party.
So tomorrow, that's awesome.
Tomorrow could be possible. We can bring it in the house.
Tomorrow night, we're going to go live about 8, maybe a few minutes before for preview. We're gonna go. We're gonna go through at least 20 picks. It's scheduled from 8 to 11:30. We're only gonna go to about 10. So I don't want to break down the 25th pick of the draft. Cowboys pick at 17. That's really where our family of fans ends. We've got Packers, Cowboys.
You know they were in the nation's capital.
Neither are the Redskins.
Yeah, but they're looking to move stadiums.
They are.
Yeah, we've got a bunch of those fans. So we'll probably the Panthers pick early, Browns pick early, Cowboys pick 17. We're looking somewhere around the 20.
My night will be
pick
done as
eight.
soon as it starts, so I can just leave. They pick so fast. All right.
The only reason we may stay past 20 is if the Redskins or Panthers trade back there in the first round. So tomorrow night we'll go 8 o'clock. Watch live here on Facebook. That's where we're only place it'll be. You guys can comment with us. We won't be as formal as sitting at the mics as this. We'll all kind of be hovering around some mics, different rooms. But if you guys got questions online, comments about your teams, we'll be more than happy to talk about them and do whatever. Looking forward. It should be a fun night tomorrow. We'll have fun. Gina, I don't know if you remember the funnest night. I've told them before, the draft party I've ever had. We had a draft party in college one time. It was 2004. And it was the year, I don't know if you remember, the Vikings missed their draft pick. And it went nuts. And so what we were doing actually at that time, we were betting a quarter a pick. And so we all had, our mock drafts. We all had like 3 or 4 mock drafts printed off. There's 10 people sitting in a room.
God, I might have to do that tonight.
Every draft pick, Hunter, everybody, you put a quarter in and you write down who you think the pick is going to be.
I just like to see if I'm right or not.
So when Minnesota passed up that pick, it went like 6, 7 straight picks of just wildest. I've never seen just quarters hitting the tables, and everybody just scraping up who's mine, who I got. And we're putting down new numbers because your mock drafts have went crazy because Minnesota's here missing picks. Yeah. That was a fun one, and it hasn't happened since. It's been 17 years. I've been waiting 17 or 15 years for that to happen. That was so fun.
Well, 2020 has been kind of interesting so far.
Who,
So we'll see
who knows what the hell happened tomorrow night. All right, guys. So thank you for coming in, joining us, Mr. Boys.
Thank you.
We will move on to tomorrow night, and then of course Saturday morning sports talk on KTC Broadcast, and we'll talk a little bit of everything. Saturday mornings we tend to talk local sports more than Mondays and Wednesdays. Our regular podcast is more pro and stuff. So Saturday mornings we'll get into high school scores and sports. And things like that, Gene. That would be a good time for maybe you to come in and get some breakfast one day and talk.
Yeah,
we have breakfast on Saturdays.
Or maybe do it one day like you do the Friday night. They do an awesome Friday night football show here. And
that's true too.
Do call-ins and maybe you can answer questions.
Since it's so big in Cleveland County, we can have you come in and maybe host a pre or post game show.
I got to see that in Texas. That's
it's
different
really
on
cool
Friday
here.
nights.
Now, if you're bringing the Yeti in, we definitely put you in on the show on Friday night.
Who's joining me and Terry?
That'll be Hunter hosts the pre-game show.
Yeah,
will they
join us?
Will they make terrible?
Gene's big dream is to turn the racetrack at the fairgrounds into Cleveland Community Yeti football. So
Dr. Jason Hurst is all about that. Because think about it, if you keep the talent local that gets to play JUCO for 2 years.
5 minutes ago, I was about to ask you that question. And I'm like, we've went too long.
Oh,
I was really about to say that. Have y'all talked football? Have y'all? Has there been any
Next time.
talk?
Absolutely.
That is for next time.
That's
That's a big segment that we can
That's
hit
kinda
on.
like a
You know
lead-in.
what? That can be a
Cleveland
Saturday
County.
morning.
I mean, it's Cleveland County.
That can be a Saturday morning.
the talent that can't go D1 can stay at home and
well,
play and continue to.
The reason I was asking that is because we're
Last chance you
having
come
so
into Cleveland
much
County.
we're having so much fun and everything with the Yeti mascot. That would be about the greatest mascot ever for a football team.
Put a Yeti on a helmet though. Oh,
I'm telling you, last chance we get them and Netflix come out here, start recording and do their thing.
The Yeti.
And you heard it here first.
Yeti.
You heard it here. We'd have to bring Netflix in here to record the podcast and the shows because this is where all the Yeti talk was.
This is where it happens.
This could be Yeti talk.
Hey, shock the nation,
Yeah,
Yeti
it is.
Nation.
Shock the nation.
All right, folks. Have a good Wednesday, and thanks for Gene Bulls, Coach Cleveland Community College baseball. Philip Russ, Centennial High in
Fort St. Lucie.
Fort St. Lucie. Lucy,
Lucy, whichever way you want.
I was wondering, is that a charitable thing?
It's Lucy.
Lancaster.
Yeah.
Lancaster.
The incredible.
3 year olds, maybe 4. All right, guys, have a good day. Thank you for tuning in. KDCBroadcasting.com. Shock Joxx.